outstanding football team, and I wouldn't want to insinuate that had we played better, you know, maybe we could beat them. I know on a given night anything can happen, and we certainly expected to win the ball game when we took the field. But they're a fine football team, and you know their offensive team is pretty much senior dominated. So they want to really keep it going this year, and I hope they can keep it going at this point in time. It's a good representation for our conference.
You mentioned that you had troubles running the ball for 65, 70 yards, whatever it was. Were you able to make any kind of changes to try to do better in the second half?
Well, from time to time, we had some good running plays, but we weren't able to break any for any long gains. They play a variation of a 4-4 type front with 3 deep secondary, and although we were able to throw the ball, they were excellent tacklers, and they forced very well. And I thought their front four was very strong. They were able to get underneath our offensive linemen from time to time, and once you can do that, you can stop the offense momentum. But as I said earlier, we did throw the ball well. Our pass protection was excellent, and really going into our game Saturday with Washburn, our quarterback's really only been sacked twice, so we do feel good about that, and for the most part, we took good care of the football against them and didn't put our defense in the hole, really.
You mentioned your improved passing game. Do you think the addition of Paul Riley, has that helped quite a bit?
Well, it certainly hasn't hurt any at all. I mean, Paul gives us good speed. Donnie Lee had a lot of good catches before Paul came back, but Paul does have excellent speed, and it takes a little bit of heat off of Travis Valine and Doug Banks when they're both in there.
Travis Valine, I think, played maybe one of his best games of the year. He's made a couple really tough catches.
He had some real spectacular catches, and he did a good job, and I hope that that's a real boost for Travis's confidence. He can catch the ball in the crowd. He's got good speed. He can catch it going downtown, and we just need to be able to utilize the tools that he has, and then when the ball gets there, we need to have him catch it. So he had, I thought, by far his best game of the season.
Something you've talked about before, the special teams. Do you think they improved like you would have wanted them to?
Well, really, I felt like for the most part, our kickoff coverage was excellent with the exception of the first time. They zipped right up inside and had a good return. So we did a little better after that. Our kickoff coverage for the most part was adequate. Our punting return weren't bad, but they weren't particularly great. And I thought we did a nice job as far as covering our punts. They had some excellent return people, and they have capabilities of being able to cover a lot of yards very fast.
Coming off a loss like that, do you think defensively it might take a week or two, or is the defense going to be able to rebound right away this week?
Well, John, what we've tried to do is to approach these young men with the idea that you either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same, and you can't feel sorry for yourself. You've got to, you just have to resolve yourself to the fact that you're playing another great football team, and what's done is history. It's water under the bridge. We can't change that, and so all we can do now is to get ready for our next opponent, which we've worked very hard on, Washburn, and they're an entirely different challenge because they run a different kind of an offense and a different kind of a defense.
Defensively, your defensive line was able to put pressure on the quarterback when they passed, but it just happened to come down to that running game. What kind of things can you do this week to improve that?
Well, John, I just would maybe like to highlight a little bit. Initially, our plan was to use a technique that we call flow dog on when they would kind of come out and sprint out on a pass, and we were able to sack their quarterback 4 times. Really, we were able to force them to run the ball into the sideline, and that was our whole game plan. But we weren't able to take the option away or the run away when they did do that. And I think the fans will be able to see that. Well, as I said, now you come back and you have an entirely different plan, a team that's going to be in a whole multitude of formations, and they're going to use a lot of different types of motion, and our scheme will be a lot different than it was last year. This week we'll have to be very concerned about the pass and not to be able to give them a long home run.
Do you think that's difficult for your defense to make such a drastic change week to week?
Well, it is, but you just have to do it. You really don't have any choice because that's what this particular team does, and we have to be prepared to meet the challenge.
Okay, right after this, we'll take a look at first half footage from the Pittsburgh ball game.
Be an American where at least I know I'm free.
Hello, I'm Lee Greenwood. I wrote God Bless the USA because I believe in our country and its opportunities. And one of the best investments in our future I've found is the Army National Guard. We all know what the Guard does for our country. But if you're between 17 and 35, let me tell you what the Guard can do for you. First of all, you can get a good-paying part-time job in your hometown. You can earn up to $18,000 towards your college education. And you can learn job skills that will mean more money for you in your civilian job. So check on this opportunity for college with a good-paying part-time job in your hometown. It's an investment in yourself, your state, and this great country of ours. Call right now for the opportunity of your life. The number for your Nebraska Army National Guard is 1-800-742-7764. That number again, 1-800-742-7764. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back. Now, as promised, we'll take a look at footage from that first half of the Pittsburgh ball game.
It's really a beautiful night for a game, and as I was mentioning to you during break, they have a really fantastic field. The turf and everything is really great. We were able to receive the kickoff, and that's what we wanted. We do let a man slip through there, and there's a big hit. At least their crowd roared and thought it was a big hit, but I think it looked like maybe it's bigger than it really was. And we opened up with an isolation play, and Chuck Mosley picks up approximately 4 yards, so that's a good start. Then we had a little trouble with the snap, but you'll see some of Russ Harvey's versatility here as he rolled around. He did find Paul Harvey, and it was a first down. You can see Pittsburgh flying to the football, so you got to stay alert and stay after him. This is another pass that Russ had. We hit Scott Chohan, and again we end up losing the ball there, but one of his teammates recovered it, so we were able to hold on to it. But we came up short. That was a third down and fairly long, and now you'll see Pittsburgh get going here. And these first few plays we play extremely well. That was Todd Suey out there making that play. And then they come on the pitch, and Kevin Lyons will eventually make the tackle, but it was a first down. Danny Gall showed up in the picture. And this was a trick play. We knew they ran it. It was a tight end around, and then he lateraled out, and we had it. You know, we had worked on it a lot. We knew exactly how we wanted it to play it, but we didn't play it the way we said we wanted to play it, and as a result, they got a big gain. This is a pass, and this is one of the 4 or 5 sacks that we had on the quarterback, and you can see we had a lot of people in there. This little rollout pass that they have, and we're going to get him again. And they're forced to punt, and that's for the only time in the whole game. Again, this is a pass to Ryan Siss. It was a little high, and I think later in the game, I believe that Russ Harvey would have been able to stick that in. I'm sure he was a little nervous for his first start. Here they fumble, and they don't get a very good return at all. We're able to shut them off. And, of course, then here they go, and there's the option, and you just get some idea of the tools that they have. This young man had a lot of yards in the ball game, and Danny Gall had to make the tackle. If you're one man out of position, this is a sprint option. This is the play that we knew they were going to run a lot of, and of course he takes it in for their first touchdown. You can see how neat their turf looks. It almost looks like artificial turf, you know, from a distance. Extremely well marked. And then on the other end of the field, they had a brand new scoreboard with the message center on it. This is Travis Valine again on the return. This is a good one. We were well out in great field position starting on about the 40-yard line and felt good about that. Scott Chohan a dive and shows good strength, and we're able to get the first down. And this is Chuck Mosley on a critical play. It was third down and about 3 or 4 yards to go, and we went for it. In fact, I think it was fourth down, and we went for it and couldn't make it. And then there's their hard dive play, and you can see number 30 running well. Little counter option that they ran quite a bit. And see, that's just excellent judgment on his part. We had him in the grasp, and he still pitched the ball out, and they picked up 4 or 5 yards. They're moving again. Down to about the 4-yard line, and then they score. Had a nice crowd for the game, all in all, really. Now they changed and they went to a little different type of a kickoff. They shifted over, and then they kicked it to their right, over to our left, and tried to hang it high in the air. And we made some adjustments after this first one and did a little better job, but we had a very poor return there. What we got really was because of second effort by Doug Banks. The sprint out, and we hit Travis Valine for a nice gain. Big hit there by 17, Adams. This is later on, another automatic, and that's a fine catch, I think, by Doug Banks on that one. And here's a bootleg, and I think we probably could have run it for a big gain too, but he threw to Paul Riley. And you see some good second effort by Paul in terms of fighting for yards. And we come with a series of plays here. This is Brad Arrowsmith running the ball down to about the 3. We put in a 3 tight end offense here, and on this last play, Trevor Pavich is able to go up over the top and for the touchdown, and Darren Garholz kicks it through for the PAT. So it's 14-7. It doesn't look too bad. And this is their good kickoff return right here. They come back and they pop it right up inside. And it looked all of a sudden like we were in big trouble. And anytime you give a team that has the kind of offensive power that they have an opportunity like that, you see they can do something with it. Here they hit the tight end on a crossing pattern. It's a big tight end. He's about 240 pounds. He's a senior. They come with another little pass, and they hit the flanker on an out cut. He's an excellent player. Ginnivan is his name, and he can do a lot of things. And there's our cutback dive for a touchdown. So they kind of got us reeling a little bit right now. We're struggling. Again, here's a nice pass back to Travis Mullane, caught down the middle. We put him in motion, and we're moving the ball well here again, as you can see. We stick one in to Paul Riley. He kind of threw in the crowd, but we got it in. And we attempted a field goal. We lined up for one, and they took a timeout to try to bother, I think, Darren a little bit, and then we were able to kick it, and we missed it. And it pretty much runs a half out.
Right after this, we'll take a look at the second half footage and see those second half highlights.
Alpha Tango 4, make it clear to all checkpoints. I say again, all checkpoints, and no one is getting restricted area without a pass.
Roger, over.
During the Grand Island tornado, our city witnessed many examples of assistance and community involvement. One such example we will never forget is the total dedication and caring displayed by our Nebraska Army National Guard men and women.
With the start of that second half, Coach, I'm sure you were hoping to get a score right away in the second
Well,
half.
we sure would like to. We had to kick off to them. So they had won the toss, and they deferred it. We did a better job of covering on that when they see Jeff Essman in on the tackle there. Bobby Joe Russell was there. They come right back and go downtown right away and are able to complete it. Makes a fine catch. Again makes a nice catch. There we did a nice job of stuffing the dive play. And then there's their outside veer that we just talked a little bit about for about a 10-yard gain. So they're moving down again. Come out just a little bit too far, you see there, and the quarterback's able to keep the ball and runs it down to about the 2, and I believe they score on this play. Got a big cannon back there you saw go off. We came back, and, you know, again, we were able to move the football from time to time. That was another nice pass to Travis Mullane, the catch in the crowd. Sprinted out again, and we hit Doug Banks. And this was the second effort fumble. Doug was trying to get some additional yards and spinning around, really exposed himself, and they got on the ball when we left it on the ground. Their quarterback again that we talked about. He's only a sophomore, so he's going to be a thorn in people's side for a while. And that was a critical short yardage play right there. I believe we held him. Yeah, we did. Here Russ decides to keep the ball and runs for a very short gain. Scott Shohan up inside again for some short yardage. Then we come with the bootleg, and you see again Russ was under pressure, but he got it out to Doug Banks, who squirted forward, and we got the first down. Again, we're moving the football pretty well. You see Russ stay in there, and he hit Travis Mullane for a touchdown. It was a fine catch and a well-run route, and it was a well-thrown football. Again, Darren's able to stick it through for the extra point, so we got our 14 now. The sprint option again that we've seen several times, and you know, again, it's just a matter of being in the right position. Here it is again going the other way. You can see 71 pull there to make a critical block each time. Played that a little better, though. The dive play. It's just a matter of inches, but he squirted through there, and again, they're knocking on our end zone. He was able to break the goal line. Tried a little dipsy doodle here to try to get somebody downtown. Went to Paul Riley just to let him know that you know, we were here to do a great job. We wanted to win the ball game. Doug did a nice job handling that poor snap. It was on the ground. And does a good job of really covering the punch. Scott Meyer made the tackle there on that one. So it's good judgment by the quarterback. You know, it's just when you're able to work on a play and work on it and work on it and work on it, then you make those kinds of decisions. And it really doesn't make any difference what kind of offense you run. If you're a passing offense, the quarterback in his own way has to do the same thing. Nice play there by Todd Gransky on the quarterback. Again, here comes the pass, and we were able to sack him. They're not, they're a well-balanced team. They can throw the ball. They only completed 4 passes on it, and then that's one of them right there for a touchdown. But when they did complete them, they were usually for big gains.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice, John. Our band had made the trip to Pittsburgh, so we had a lot of noise on our side. Again, a moderately good return there. Not great, but it wasn't bad. Then they came through with a stunt. We missed the block on it. It really wasn't a stunt. We missed the block, and it was a shuffle pass. It was a forward pass, so it was incomplete. And we're able again to hit Travis Valin. I think that was Scott Meyer that caught that pass there. A great catch by Ryan Siss. It was an excellent catch, well-thrown ball in a crowd. And here we come with our own option for just a short gain. We use the draw pass a lot. It gives you a little better protection. Great catch by Travis Valin. Good eye control, stayed right with the ball. But once again, we're kind of moving down there, and now we're able to hit Paul Riley, who's wide open. This was late in the game, and they may have had some substitutes in there at this time. But that's the end of our scoring. They do a nice job. Again, we're kind of shabby tackling there. Jeff Essman eventually wraps him up. We played that dive play well there. And not a bad job on that one. Again, I don't know how many substitutes they have in. I'm sure they have some at this point in time in the game. And that's it.
We'll be back after this short break and take a look at another highly rated team, Washburn.
If you work with someone who has AIDS, do you know which of these things is safe to do? Using the same coffee pot, using the same microwave oven, shaking hands, sharing tools, working on the same computer, riding in the same elevator, riding in the same car, using the same telephone, drinking from the same water fountain, sitting in the same chair, using the same pen, using the same typewriter, eating in the same cafeteria, sitting at the same table, using the same bathroom, handling the same papers, touching the same controls, using the same copying machine. Yes, all of these things are safe to do. In fact, any normal activity in the workplace is safe to do with someone who has AIDS. For more information, write the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
As I mentioned earlier, Coach, another highly ranked team in the NAIA, Washburn, this week.
They started out, they were even ranked higher for a while, and then they lost the week before last to Northeast Oklahoma. It was a wild affair, and they lost by 1 point. I think the score was in the high 30s for both teams. And prior to that, they were ranked very high, and then they dropped down to like 16th, and then they played Missouri Western last week at Washburn and beat them 17-10, so they jumped back up about 5 places, so they're 11th right now. They have a solid program. It's very, very well established. They made a tremendous commitment to it several years ago, and I think they're just paying some dividends. For a long time there, Washburn struggled, and they weren't really very respectable at all, but Larry Ellett and his staff and the players they have right now have certainly turned that around.
You mentioned earlier the variable sets and the different kind of offensive schemes. Could you elaborate maybe on that just a little bit?
Well, they're gonna be in everything from the I formation to split back to shotgun, and maybe even from time to time they might not even have any backs in the backfield. I think that perhaps they've settled down a little bit from the past, but I know I was looking at all their formations and things that our defensive staff have up in Coach Renner's office, and the whole boards were covered with a wide variety of formations, a lot of different types of motion, and of course they have some quality athletes to put in those circles that you have there too. Slusser, the wide receiver, is one of the leading receivers in the country. He's an excellent return man. He just makes things happen. It doesn't make any difference. Once he touches the ball, you've really got to be alert and on your toes if you want to keep them from getting a big play. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us defensively, and we've had to change some things to make sure that we're going to be sound.
With that many different sets, do you think the defense will try to use a whole lot of different formations to counter, or will they try to stay a little more basic?
Well, I think one thing that we're going to have is a good pass rush from our down four. That's going to be real important. We're going to go into the game with not a lot of blitzes, because the more blitzes you have, maybe the more opportunities for big plays. So we'll go into the game with maybe one, maybe two at the most, counting on the rush from our down four and making sure that nobody gets behind us in the passing game, keep everything in front of us and make them go the long, hard route.
Something that might get overlooked, with the defense having so much to prepare for this week, I'm sure they put in a lot of time off the field.
Oh, they really do. Meetings, our coaching staff will be in at 6:45 every morning, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, just a tad bit later on Thursday, but not a whole lot. Our players usually start meetings by 2:30 on each day of the week, and they will go up to about 3:06. And so, you know, there's a lot of work to try to prepare them for what's going to take place in practice. And then you'd like to run your practice so that it looks exactly like it would in a game, as close as you possibly can. Try to create the same type of pressure that you'd have in a game, the same type of time element that you have to make all the checks and make all the adjustments.
Do you think this has been a good week of practice, coming off kind of a tough loss?
Well, I think it has been. I've always really been impressed with the young men at Kearney State that I've had the chance to work with. You know, they don't like adversity. Nobody does, but you have to find a way to handle it. And I think for the most part, we've handled it real well. As I said before, you know, there's no place for self-pity, because if you start feeling sorry for yourself, the same thing's going to happen the next Saturday. We got to get ready to play as if we were undefeated and as if they were undefeated, and to have that kind of effort if we expect to be successful.
Something that might be in the minds of a lot of the fans out there, Russ Harvey played well last week, but do we expect Gary Hurt to be back in the starting lineup?
Well, I think Gary deserves to start. You know, Gary lost the starting position because of no fault of his own. It wasn't because of poor play. But we're going to play both of them. I think Russ has proven that he can certainly play, and we're going to try to work it out where maybe we can play both of them each half. And if somebody really gets hot, then that would be the young man you'd go with at that particular time. But I've not been disappointed in Gary Hurt's efforts on behalf of our football team, and I certainly wasn't disappointed in Russ Harvey's effort on last Saturday night, because I thought he did an excellent job.
Do you think that split quarterback kind of situation might make it a little difficult on the rest of the offense?
It really shouldn't, because they practice together all the time, and we interchange our quarterbacks, and we're still going to run the same offense, but it's just that each quarterback might execute it a little bit differently. They have some different skills and abilities, and I think that would change your offense just slightly.
Now, Washburn's defense has maybe been a little bit maligned, maybe because it's not quite as good as their offense. What kind of things do you think you can exploit from them?
Well, you know, John, several years ago, the Chicago Bears played a defense that kind of became known as the 46 defense, or the Chicago Bear defense, and they run variations of this, and they like to stunt. And a year ago, they ran it at their place, and we played there, and we had a lot of difficulty with it. We've worked hard on trying to rectify those problems, but we're going to have to be able to run the ball to make sure that they got to play the run, so that when we go back and throw the pass, they're not going to be bringing people and sacking our quarterback. A year ago, Mark Voss spent a lot of time on the ground, and certainly we weren't a very productive offense. We lost the ball game 28-0, and that's not at all what we had in mind. So we've reminded our players of that, our offensive players, and our goal is to go out and play a complete football game, you know, to be able to run the ball, but mix in the pass. And I think this is a game where automatics are going to be very important, because they're going to give us some things, and if we must take them when they're there. If we let it go by, we might not see it again.
What you're saying is they might take a few extra chances that if you can see them, you could capitalize on.
I think that's right. And I think also if they find that they got a particular type of defensive scheme that's working, you're going to see it again and again and again until you get it solved. So we certainly don't want that to happen. We want to stay on top of it at all times.
Offensively, have you had to make any major changes this week?
Well, not really. I mean, we've made some changes within little schemes based upon the defense that they run. And we've tried to eliminate some doubt that we might have had in the offense last Saturday in an effort of allowing our players to come off the line of scrimmage with a little more authority.
But once again, the key is going to be the running game, trying to keep their offense off the field.
I don't think there's any question about it. And, you know, we were able to move the ball last week, and we had a lot of first downs, but we really needed to have more production in the running game. Maybe we could have kept their offense on the sideline, and maybe there might have been one or two less touchdowns that had been scored had we done a better job. So we got to mature as an offensive football team. We really have to mature as a total football team, and we got to learn from our mistakes. The potential is there for a good team, but as I said before, performance is all that counts, and if we don't get it done fairly quick, we're going to be in deep trouble.
Talking about that running game, do you think the major thing you can do is maybe try to get the line to come off the ball a little bit quicker or something like that?
Well, not so much quicker, but much more intelligently. We have to have the right kinds of angles that we haven't done from time to time, and we just can't let people run through free. And we've really worked hard on that this week. I think our players have a good understanding of what it is that we want them to do. Now we just got to get out and do it. And as I've said before, football is such a great team sport because if all 11 guys do their thing, you got a chance of being successful. But if 10 guys do it and one guy fouls up, the play could be an 8 or 9 yard loss.
And that's one of the big things I guess we saw against that option. Just one man can make the big
That's right. And all of a sudden they stick it in the end zone, you know, on a long pass or a long run. And we just can't have those kinds of mistakes and be successful.
We're out of time for this week, Coach. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope you're here next week with us.
Contain a deadly hydrogen cyanide, but they won't know for sure until tests are conducted. Thousands of people evacuated from the blast area have now been told it's okay to go home. Tomorrow, Columbus Day, is the last national holiday before Election Day. As you might expect, the presidential candidates will be out marching in Columbus Day parades. Michael Dukakis will be walking in Manhattan, while George Bush puts his shoe leather to the test in
small in the offensive line. They got a couple of 300-pounders in there, and they themselves average about 275 pounds across the line. So it could be quite a battle.
Kearney State College comes into this game doing very well offensively, thanks in part to their quarterback, Gary Hurt, who's averaging 141 yards passing. He's ranked 4th in the CSIC. On the other side of the coin, Washburn is doing pretty good offensively. They're no slouch, ranked 3rd in the nation offensively, piling up 450 yards a game.
Quite an offense. They've got quite a quarterback. He's 2nd in the league in passing, and what does he pass for? About 230 yards per game. So you can look for Washburn to put it up quite a few times today.
One game you may hear today is Troy Slusser for Washburn. He's an outstanding receiver, quick speed, good hands. Look for him to catch a lot of balls today.
That's right. Look for number 32 from Topeka, Kansas. 2nd team CSIC from Kansas City.
Well, with that, let's join the Kearney State College Bandtastics for today's national anthem. Nice rendition of our national anthem by the Kearney State College Bandtastics. Ideal conditions at Foster Field. You get a look at the field. Of course, it is laid out north to south. There's really no breeze today, and the temperature hovering right around 60 degrees, so really perfect, ideal football conditions. Give you a little idea of what the matchups today are history-wise for both teams. Kearney State College comes into this game leading 15-4 overall.
20th matchup last year, the Lopers lost 28-0, but later after the season, well, Washburn had an ineligible player and went on the W column for the Lopers. They only got about 205 yards total offense, pretty much shut down all the way around. Charlie Bennett, a linebacker for Washburn, had 23 tackles in that game. You might want to look for him, number 44.
Last year, the Lopers just had over 200 yards offensively, as you mentioned, Steve. One thing that points out offensively for the Washburn Ichabods, they are ranked 3rd nationally. They have over 450 yards a game. One thing that you could credit that is their offensive line. Their quarterback has a lot of time to pass.
That's right, and they got a great receiver in Tony Slusher, and he was second team CSIC last year, and look for a lot of passes going his way. Plus they got a running back named Les Williams, number 27. He's a 5'10", 170-pound junior from St. Louis, and he's run for about 85 yards a game as well this season.
We're pumping up the Washburn offense, but there's one thing that we should point out. Although they have scored this season, they have yet to score, I should say, in the third quarter.
That's absolutely true. They scored 108 points overall, 0 in the third quarter, so we'll see what happens today.
Getting back to the offensive line for Washburn, they've only given up a quarterback sack every 32 pass attempts. They've given up 4 on the year.
All year long.
Kearney State College comes into this game 2-3. They're 1-1 in the CSIC. Washburn is 3-1. They're 2-0 at home. They've split on the road, and they have a 1-0 CSIC. And also an interesting thing to point out, this could be the last matchup between these two teams.
That's right. The CSIC, of course, after this season is disbanding. Kearney looking for a league to get into. I don't think they've found any bites yet, but I do know one thing. They've got a tough schedule next year with a bunch of independents.
Kearney State College has won the toss. They've elected to receive, and they'll defend the south goal. Washburn to kick off from their own 35, and they'll be defending the north goal. Doing the kicking for Washburn will be Dave Reuter, 5'7" freshman. We're set for Kearney State College football. Sit back and enjoy Jim Taylor along with Steve Crawford today. And here we go. From the 10.
He's got
some room,
He's
still
got
on his feet.
One got to beat.
Across midfield, he could go. Finally brought down, what a run.
Brought down by number 46, Scott Caranda, 6'3", 195-pound freshman, but what a return.
That was number 16, Travis Vallon, and a big return, and Kearney State College starts off with excellent field position.
He's been returning pretty well all year long. He's averaged about 21 yards a return, and had a good one there, all the way down to the 26-yard line.
Kearney State will take over their first offensive series. Look for them to come out of a straight I. Shohan, the fullback. That's Mosley, the I-back. Gary Hurt, the quarterback. The give to Mosley around the right side. Not much of a gain. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage on that one.
Tackled there by number 45 for Washburn.
Mosley, a big gun for Kearney State. Been very productive in the backfield.
Gary Hurt in there
61 yards
this week. Last week, of course, he was ill with, I believe, pneumonia, and his replacement did quite a game last year.
2nd and about 11. This time they give to Shohan straight up the middle, and he's out across to about the 19, a pickup of about 6. That's one thing you're probably going to see Kearney State do a lot of is run the ball today, but they will mix it up. Gary Hurt's arm is quite effective. So you're going to see a big combination of running and passing plays. They're not afraid to pass when they get inside that 5-yard line, as other teams may like to run.
And Scott Shohan gets some really tough yards in there all season long. He's got about 181 yards so far, but
he gets those tough 3 yards when you need them.
Straight eye formation for the Lopers. This time to give to Shohan up the middle again, and picks up maybe about 1 yard.
Short of the first down, it'll be 4th down.
Well, that's going to bring up 4th down and about 1.5 yards, and it looks like Kearney State is going to elect to attempt a field goal. Just underway here in the game, 13:07 left on the clock. And this is going to be about a 32-yard field goal attempt. The kick is up.
Looks pretty good to me. No. I botched that.
A little wide to the left.
Yeah.
So Kearney State, after that big kickoff return that got them excellent field position, now gives up the ball on downs, and Washburn's going to take over from their own 20-yard line.
Okay, let's see how Kearney's defense comes up against Washburn, a very potent Washburn offense. Of course, they gave up 42 points last week to Pittsburgh State.
We mentioned one person to watch for the Ichabods, number 32, Troy Slusser. He's an outstanding receiver, averaging 122 yards receiving this year. Dwayne Haley split to the wide end. The give to the near side, out across to about the 21. Les Williams on the carry.
Tackled in there by Scott Baker. Came up there real good for a little run support.
Kearney State College has a lot of pride in their defense. You'll see them after every defensive series. They'll come over and they'll huddle up with their coaches and make some adjustments as the game progresses. They don't wait until halftime, so they're doing it after each series. Barry Griffiths, the quarterback for the Ichabods.
And he is a good one.
3 wide receivers split to the far side. Griffiths back to pass a lot of time, lets it sail. Slasser had it in his hands and then bobbled it out.
Good play by number 13, Rusty Conrad, over there to break it up.
Slusser, we mentioned, is going to be one of the big offensive weapons for the Ichabods.
I know against Northern State, Kearney gave up quite a few yards passing, and they made it look quite easy. And they're going to have to play a lot better this week against a similar type offense to shut them down. And thus far, they've done okay. 2 plays, 1 yard.
3rd and about 9. Ichabods right now relying on the arm of their quarterback, Barry Griffiths. And there's a couple of penalties on the play. It's going to be a free play, it looked like. Griffiths was hit just before he released the ball. And let's see, they're going to rule it a fumble.
That's right. Good call. Kearney State ball at the 15-yard line of Washburn.
And there you saw a picture of Todd Gransky as he came off. I think he's the man that recovered the ball. No ruling on the flag yet.
Offside on Kearney, I believe.
Well, we have an early indication of offsides. Let's see. So Kearney State is going to retain possession, and they're going to march the ball back to about the 26-yard line. There you see offsides is the call. So Kearney State with a big break here early in the game.
Still Washburn's ball. They took it back on the offside.
All right, now we're situated. Getting a little ahead of myself. Slusser split to the far end. Griffiths the quarterback. Straight drop back. Once again, a lot of time to throw. Had a man over the field, and I think that's going to be a trap. Let's see.
No,
Are they ruling it a reception?
There's that number 32 there, Tim Slusher.
Slusser has such great hands. That almost looked like a trap from our angle, but the official right there to make the play. So now with 11:26 left in the first quarter, the Ichabods on the move. 1st and 10 from their own 35. Haley and Slusser split to the top of your screen. To give to Les Williams. He has some running room out to midfield.
Very good run, number 27 there. That's Les Williams from St. Louis. His backup, by the way, is from St. Louis, too, so they got a couple of good running backs, both from St. Louis.
Les Williams listed at 5'10", 170. He's a junior out of St. Louis. You mentioned his backup also out of St. Louis. At the fullback position, they have some good size, 5'9", 205, and Phillip Brox. This time they give to Brock straight ahead. He's out across to about the KSC 48-yard line before he's brought down by a host of Kearney State tacklers.
I find it quite interesting. Their tight end stands up instead of getting down in the stands. I would look toward Iowa Hawkeyes. They have a couple of guys that do that too. It seemed to me like it would be real tough to get down and get a good block in, but I guess it works for him. He can see the field maybe and get the job done.
One thing they probably feel that gives them is better leverage on the blocks in case there is a sweep to that side. They can crack down on that defensive end possibly. Brock's the lone setback. 3 wide receivers to the near side.
Looks to pass. Yeah, fumble snap.
Fumbled on the snap, and there's a flag down and indicated some early movement. I think it might go against the Ichabods. Kearney State pointing, saying that it's against the Ichabods. Let's see. The officials have a conference, and it's illegal procedure against the Ichabods. So they're going to march them back and do the play over.
You can look for him to throw this time for sure. It'll be about 2nd down and 11, and they're a throwing team, so look for number 32 once again.
You mentioned the Ichabods' record stands at 3-1. Their only loss was a shootout to Northeastern Oklahoma, and they lost that one 35-30. So even when they lose, they're capable of putting some big points on the board.
Absolutely.
Haley to the near side. Washburn in a straight I formation. Griffiths fakes a draw. Time to pass. Rifles one. That's Slusser out to the 38-yard line and finally brought down.
Dan Gall there, number 11, brought him down. Wide open on the play. Just ran out, little hook. Quarterback hit him with the ball right on the numbers.
Well, this is going to be kind of easy today if they keep throwing to Slusser. That's a name that's going to be tough to forget.
He's quite a threat.
Good speed, good hands. Like we said, came into this game averaging 122 yards receiving. Slusser to the top of the screen. In motion, that's Dave Murphy. This time they give to Williams, and he is met at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Play there.
You'll pick up this crew and go back for Roberts and the child.
Roger. Now checking back into the game for Kearney State, number 87, Todd Gransky.
Road trip?
Jesus.
Where are you going?
Ichabods come up to the ball.
Downtown.
The city?
Looking at 2nd and 10 after that no-gain running play.
Who is this kid?
Stray dog.
Dwayne Haley in motion now to the top of the screen.
And you're Chris Parker, right?
Griffiths looks like he's checking off. Hands to Williams, and he's hitting the backfield. So Kearney State not fooled there by the fake by Griffiths on the pass.
Really trust you to take little kids into the...
What experience have you had?
There'll be a loss of 1 on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd and 11. 8:19 left here in the first quarter. No score. Kearney State uses a swarming defense, it looks like, on the line. They aren't getting blown up. We mentioned that Ichabods have some size there on the line. Right now, Kearney State holding their own.
Hey! Gotta run.
Remember how crushed you were when
Out
the
of the
guy
pro
said, what
set,
kind of experience
Griffiths.
have you got?
Straight drop back.
You wanted to shake your fists.
He's hit as he released the ball.
Say, I can do anything.
And in there is
if I can just get a
Gransky
chance."
messing things up for the Lopers.
Lopers playing
They're ready
some
for
very
you in the
inspiring
boardroom, Mr.
defense
Prescott.
out there. They're not short on effort, that's for sure. They're putting out a lot
Call
of effort.
Bates and personnel. Tell them I'm sending somebody out.
Well, Gransky has been in on 2 key plays now. They recovered that fumble.
Is up to you.
But it was ruled back in the Ichabod's favor, and now he passes up a third, or he gets in there and disrupts a 3rd and long situation for the Ichabods, so now they're forced to punt. 4th and 11. A lot of time.
Back to catch the punt. He's averaging 21.7 yards to return, but he won't have a chance this time.
They're trying for the far end, and not really
Jonah Roberts.
not as deep as they'd like, but it's going to be spotted at the 15.
I want to be on that helicopter.
I thought it might have been spotted at around the 20. They bring it down to the 15, and now Kearney State's going to have to operate deep out of their own territory.
Come on, let's go. Couldn't wait any longer, Frank. Hurry up.
I want to go with you.
Best thing you can do is stay with your kids. Come on, that's it. Come on, let's go.
Ryan Sis split to the near side, as is Doug Banks. Straight eye formation for the Lopers. Hurt wants to pass, rolls out, intercepted. Oh, and he brought him down just before he went in. Number 36, Trevor Pavich for the Lopers, saved a touchdown for the Lopers.
From Washburn, Frank Lemus, a 5'10", 195-pound junior, made the intercept, and Washburn is in marvelous position.
Also, now that punt
Scrape. Scrape.
almost
The
turns out to
babysitter
be a
stops
long
at the kids'
completion
room.
for the Ickabods as they
Reaches
take
for the
over after
doorknob.
one offensive play by the
Is
Lopers.
trembling.
So the
Her
defense,
heart is
after
beating
getting
fast.
just a quick breather, is
Sweat
back out on the
pours
field
down
for the
her face.
Lopers.
She opens the door.
So far, the
The kids
Loper
are
offense has
safely in
really
their beds.
sputtered.
Oh.
Interestingly
I'd
enough,
like to be
the
safely in
Washburn
her bed.
defense has shut out 2 opponents in the last 5 years.
What are you guys doing back
to
there?
Kearney.
Rocks and Williams,
Nothing,
the back. This is the give to Williams. He's around the left end and hit just before he gets to the line of scrimmage. So that's going to bring up second and goal from about the 5. No pickup on the play.
So what happens? Okay. But see, when the
Maybe an
babysitter
inch or
looks
two,
more
depending on
closely at the
where they
kids,
spot the ball.
she sees that they don't have any
Second and
business.
goal now for the Ickabods as Kearney defense has to rise to the occasion this time. Ickabods come up to the ball. They have a receiver, that's Slusser, split to the near side. Brock's the fullback, Williams the I-back.
Look for him to pound it out here.
They fake to Williams. In the end zone, they give it to Brock. Brock with a 5-yard completion, a touchdown for the Ickabods.
Well, Kearney's got to come back and put their head back up high and not let this first score get bothered them. That was kind of a gift to them, that interception that quite possibly could have been returned for a touchdown anyway.
I mentioned that his name is Brock. It's Brooks, Phillip Brooks.
Little stocky guy, 5'9", 205-pound junior from Bowie, Maryland. They
Now in to do the kicking is Reuter. And it's a squib kick. I think they might have had a little trouble there on the hole, but it's still good. And now the Ickabods lead 7-0.
Looked like a duck.
Well, Washburn capitalizes on that Kearney mistake, and they lead now 7-0 with 6:51 in the first quarter.
KSTV Cable USA and the Kearney State Athletic Department would like to thank the Palm Garden Lounge, El Chardell North Restaurant, Misco Sporting Goods, Nick Yeros, and Platte Valley State Bank and Trust for all their help in bringing you this KSC football game.
Well, right now you have to wonder about a motivation. You can feel the momentum kind of swing in the Ichabod's favor. They have to contend with a pretty good-sized Loper crowd and a talented Loper team, so they're going against a lot of factors today. Let's see how the Lopers can turn this around and hopefully come back, not be too down about that interception.
Deep back for Kearney. You got Banks and Valine. Of course, Valine returned that one last time back to the 26-yard line. See if they can do the same this time. They kick it to him.
Here's Valine from his own 7. To the 20, the 25. Still on his feet.
Hard running. Out to the 37-yard line.
That's good running there by number 16, Travis Valine. He's listed as 6'2", 175, a sophomore out of Long Island, Kansas. So he's a Kansas native. Probably has a couple of friends maybe on the Ichabod team.
Probably so, and I don't think they're going to shake his hand, though.
Well, not now. They'll probably wait a little bit. Right now, Kearney stayed over the ball. Hurt the quarterback. Mosley the I-back. That's Shohan the fullback. Straight dive to Shohan, and he picks up maybe a yard. They've gotten to Shohan a lot here early in the game with those fullback traps, just right up the middle, trying to establish a ground game in the middle.
Now, Coach Boroff is a good coach. He's setting them up. He's pound in the middle a little bit, you can expect something to fly out the side here pretty quick.
Washburn calls himself the wild bunch on the defensive side.
Well, they're pretty wild so far today. They're shutting Kearney down pretty well.
Kearney State now switches to a pro set. Hurt. Straight drop back and a draw play to Shohan. He's out across to about the 44-yard line before he's finally tripped up.
Gain of about 5 yards on the play.
Now checking into the game for Kearney, Don Lee. He's listed as a tight end. He's a big guy, 6'4", 248 pounds. Out of Grand Island, Nebraska.
Islanders are tough. 6-0, his high school team.
Shohan still the fullback. That's Mosley the I-back. Hurt checking off at the line. Wants to pass, puts the ball up.
Middle overthrown.
It looked like it was intended for Shohan, and Shohan started to go down just as the ball was getting to him, but I think the pass was overthrown just a little bit. So now Kearney State will send their punting unit onto the team. Fourth and 3.
Gary Hurt might just be a little bit rusty after missing last week and being sick and all, because he had really shown in the first 3 games that he really belonged there and had done quite a nice job so far. A couple incomplete passes and an interception.
But you mentioned that Hurt was sick last week. Filling in for him was Todd Harvey, and he tossed for 2 touchdowns, so they have a lot of potential talent at that backup position too.
Good coverage.
So with the punt, Kearney State College will now send their defense onto the field, and the Ichabods will have the ball from their own 33.
Defense has got to put on their chin straps right this time and suck it up and stop him this time, because Washburn gets a touchdown here. Not looking too good.
Washburn taking a long time in that offensive huddle. Now they send Slusser to the lower portion of your screen. Brooks and Williams in the backfield.
Got a
bootleg to the near side. He wants to pass, has a man over the middle, and he just overthrows him. Trying to get to number 25, Bruce Mellon, a tight end out of Fredona, Kansas.
Not a real big tight end, is he? Only about 205 pounds.
Ball thrown just a little bit behind him. Otherwise, that would have been a completion for a first down, possibly 12 yards. So now call it 2nd and 10 from the 33. 5:01 remaining in the first quarter. Ichabods out front, 7-0. Griffiths with a straight drop. Lot of time to throw. Flares it out to the near side. Across the 40.
It's a nice recovery there.
Dashiell Wandix. He's a tailback out of St. Louis, Missouri, a junior, and that time he was lined up in a split end position.
Yeah, Kevin Lyons and Scott Kovar there got a little messed up, but they came back, stopped him before he got the first down, and put a pretty good lick on him to boot.
Now Wandix is the lone setback as Brooks is to the near side. Haley and Slusser to the far side. So a lot of receivers on this particular play for the Ichabods. Griffiths with a straight drop back. Scrambles up into the pocket.
Good pressure.
He has Haley completed down to the 48 of the Lopers.
They're getting lucky now. That's way off the mark. I think he was throwing to a different receiver. Got knocked off far enough that he found another.
Griffiths was in the grasp of a lineman just about. He had a good handful of his jersey, but was still able to get that passing arm away. And the Ichabods pick up a first down. Now 1st and 10 from the Loper 48. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
So far that passing attack has been very effective.
Wandix now the tailback. Brooks the fullback. They give to Wandix to the near side. Lot of room. down to the 35 of the Lopers. Another first down for the Ichabod, so they keep this drive going in a big hurry as they pick up a lot of real estate on a couple of plays.
Tackled in there by Todd Sewry, big linebacker, 247-pound senior from Albion. I wouldn't want to run into him.
David Grove checking in for the Lopers. On the defensive side of the coin, now the Ichabods running out of the straight eye. Haley to the near side, Slusser at the top of your screen. Griffiths fake the pitch, now bootlegs it, puts it up, he has Haley, and it's almost intercepted. Ball just a little underthrown and right in the hands of Dan Gall.
He had Haley wide open there. If he'd have thrown it, stretched him out a little bit, underthrew it, should have been intercepted there by Gall, but it's good enough to bat it down.
Probably just a little mistiming there on that play, and Gall, I know, would like to have that pass back because an interception to nullify this Ichabod's drive is exactly what the Lopers need right now. They're down 7-0. Slusser once again at the bottom of your screen. Dave Murphy split to the top to give to Wandix.
Good recovery there. Looked for a moment there. He might spring it on the outside, but closed it down there pretty well.
One thing I'm impressed by so far is the pursuit on the line and the linebackers of Kearney State College. On the running plays, there's really not a lot of room there to maneuver as the holes close up fast. Checking back into the game, Mike Arnold for the Lopers, a sophomore out of David City. Slusser and Haley split now to the bottom of your screen. Wandex now comes up to the line. Brooks the lone setback. Griffiths with a straight drop, has some pressure, lets it fly, and this one's almost intercepted too.
Could have been intercepted there. Rusty Conrad. Good defense though.
Rusty Conrad has played in the secondary for a couple of years now. He's a senior out of Millard South, 5'11", 186.
Got a lot of experience back there.
And now the Ichabods are going to have to punt, and back to receive is Doug Banks for the Lopers.
Doug Banks back to receive this punt. Once again, he's averaging about 22 yards a return on 3 returns.
They'll go for the corner once again, and this time he's a little closer. Last time he spotted it at the 15, and this time he's at the 10, so he knocks off 5 with that kick, and the Lopers will once again work deep out of their own territory. .222 left in the first quarter. Lopers down 7-0. And there you see the Lopers breaking out of their huddle. Out of the straight eye. Banks, the quarterback, looks like he's checking up, taking a lot of time at the line. Banks rolls to the near side, puts up a pass. It's completed out to the 22-yard line, and finally out of bounds at the 25. Doug Banks with a big reception there as Kearney State establishes a little more breathing room.
Now that's the Gary Hurt we saw in the first 3 games. A nice crisp pass out on the sideline pattern to Doug Banks there. Got himself a first down.
It seems to me Banks is a little more effective out of the rollouts than he is in a straight drop. The offensive line doesn't have to give him as much time as they normally would on a straight drop when he does roll out. Banks now split to the bottom. The give to Mosley, straight up the middle. Fumble. The Ichabod scooped it right up on a one-hopper, and I think they're going to call him down.
Trying a little bit too hard. He was running tough in there. Just lost the handle on the ball. I don't know if somebody got a helmet on there or what. Another nice opportunity for Washburn, though.
I didn't see him go down. I don't know what the officials saw. Did you see him go down, Steve?
Well, he didn't go down. It came out before he went down. And Washburn now has the ball.
I don't know why they would stop that play. It looked like he picked it up on a one hop.
Well, I believe in college football, once the ball hits the ground, you can recover it but can't advance it, unlike the pros.
Griffiths wants to pass,
He's
has
got a
Slusser
man
at
wide
the
open
5,
touchdown.
and he trots in for a touchdown.
There's that 32 again. Troy Slusser, Topeka, Kansas. Second team CSIC player last year. A very probable first team CSIC. And of course, last time the league will even have any all-conference teams, but he's a good one.
Rusty Conrad, the last Loper defender to have a crack at Slusser before he went in, and we mentioned that Conrad had a lot of experience, but right there he just got beat. So now the Loper is down 13-0, and Dave Reuter will try and make it 14. It's a fake. And the Lopers read it well, so they probably should have gone ahead and kicked that one.
Well, it looked to me like there was a bad snap, or it wasn't really a bad snap, but looked like he dropped the ball and just tried to get up and make the best of it.
Chuck Acker and Rusty Conrad not fooled on that particular play, so now the Lopers only down 13-0.
This game has been brought to you in part by Fireside Inn, Molly's Motor Works, Frontier Liquor, Bogart's Supermarket, Copperfields, and L&J's Home and Appliance Center. KSTV and Cable USA and the Kearney State Athletic Department would like to thank these businesses for their support. Getting set to kick off once again, Washburn. Hope this doesn't become a little every minute affair here.
Well, the Ichabods came into this game averaging 450 yards. Offensively, they're ranked 3rd in the nation. So they definitely have a lot of offensive weapons. Kearney State is really going to have to come back in this game in a hurry. They're going to have to get some points on this drive. Nothing else, just to get the confidence level back up. They're capable of scoring points. At this rate, Washburn could score some points in the 3rd quarter.
That's probably true. Scored 108 so far on the season. Scored 13, excuse me, in this game so far.
Here's the kick by Washburn. Straight down the middle. From their 5, got some running room straight up the middle. Once again, Travis Vallon takes that ball straight up the middle, and a good return by the Lopers.
The only thing going the Lopers' way so far this game, Washburn, they're going to probably have a conference over there. I don't know, their kickoff team might have to work on that in practice.
Boy, he has a lot of speed on those 2 returns we've seen. He had a real excellent return, the first return of the game, all the way down to about the Ichabod 30-yard line, and this time the Lopers have good field position.
Might want to mention there that the Lopers were really knocking them down there on that kickoff too.
Kearney State now with the ball. New personnel changes. We'll get them to you just as soon as we can. Here's Hurd on the drop, and he underthrows his intended receiver, number 20, Doug Banks, the split end out of Imperial.
Had him open, could have hit him.
Travis Vallon now checking back into the game. Trevor Pavich is now the tailback for the Lopers. Belline now split to the near side. Pavich the I-back. They give to Pavich, and one Ichabod isn't fooled on that play.
Nothing doing, loss of 5 yards there.
Wade Dennis came in to make the stop for the Ichabods.
The Wild Bunch being pretty wild right now.
Well, Kearney State's going to have to do a little better job mixing things up on the offensive side. Probably, I'd like to see him put the ball up just a little more. Now they're facing a 3rd and 14 situation, 1:21 left in the first quarter.
Well, I'll bet you they put it up this time unless they're going to play a little conservative.
Here's Hurt taking a lot of time at the line of scrimmage. Another fumble, and Hurt was able to cover it in time.
I was wrong. Neither conservative nor pass. Fumbled snap. Kearney State will have to punt it again.
So Pavich and Aerosmith, the 2 backs that were in on that series, they'll come off as the Loper punting unit is onto the team or onto the field. Slusser, the lone receiver back for the Ichabods, as they have 10 men on the line.
Banks averaging 38 yards a punt.
The Ichabods are going to try and block this one. Here come the Ichabods, and they send a couple men back at the snap of the ball, and it's not a real good kick. Down to the 38-yard line of the Ichabods.
Didn't get a real good bounce out of it either.
So Banks might have hit that one off of his ankle, but the Ichabods will take over the ball now with decent field position. 22 seconds now left on the clock in the first quarter.
Very pivotal series for Kearney State. The Ichabods score another time, 20-0. That's almost insurmountable. 13-0. Well, you score and you're 13-7. So this series right here could tell the tale.
Slusser at the bottom of the screen. Haley at the top. Brooks the fullback. They fake to Williams. And now Slusser, check that number 25 for Washburn, out across the 40, pushed out of bounds at the 38. And number 25, Bruce Mellon, the receiver for Washburn. He's the tight end.
Rusty Conrad pushed him out of bounds there.
From here, it looked like Slusser might have scooted across the field there and had a chance with a little safety valve pass to pick up some yards.
Well, the linebackers got to pick that up right there. It's just underneath the coverage and took a little short dump pass and made a nice gain out of it.
Dave Murphy now sent to the near side. Slusser at the top of your screen. The give to Williams.
Good running.
Still on his feet, down to the 32. And the Loper defense is yielding some big yards here. That play, especially on 1st and 10. So they pick up about 7, and that's the end of the first quarter. And Washburn leading the Kearney State Lopers 13-0.
Well, not a real good game so far, but the parents are here. It's Parents' Day, of course, and they'll, I suppose, get introduced and everything at halftime.
Well, there's a lot of time left in this ball game. I'm sure the Lopers feel that they're very capable of scoring. We know they are, so hopefully the Lopers are going to get back here on this scoring track to get things clicking here in the second quarter.
Hey, if you're a campus or community organization and like an event listed on KSTV's video bulletin board, please call 234-8251. Now, this is a free service provided by KSTV through Kearney State College. The video bulletin board can be seen on this channel before and after our regular programming. Band whipping it up. Something needs to be done.
Well, there is a pretty good-sized crowd here for the Lopers. They're backing them all the way in this game. Slusser split to the bottom of their screen. Wandix now the I-back. They give to Wandix, trying to get outside. And a couple of Lopers are there to make some stops. Todd Suey, a linebacker, came up to make the initial contact.
Been in on a couple of tackles so far. 247-pound mammoth of a fella.
There you see a good shot of the Kearney State College defense. Right now they're doing a little better job on that running play. Hopefully the remainder of this series, that's what we can expect from the Loper defense. As Washburn now has 3 wide receivers split to the top of the screen. This could be trouble for the Lopers. It's definitely a pass. A blitz is on. He gets it off. And it's caught.
That's really too
Slusser.
bad. That was an excellent catch. That was good coverage there. And just an outstanding throw and an outstanding catch.
Troy Slusser for Washburn is having a big day. He's probably already up around 100 yards.
Kevin Lyons there on the coverage. There wasn't much more he could do on that. Just a good throw and a good catch.
Washburn is really relying on their passing game and has paid off with some big yards here today. Slusser now split to the near side. Washburn out of the I. Williams now back in for the I-back. The give to Williams across the 12-yard line, and he slips before he gets back to the line of scrimmage, so a loss of about 3 yards on the play. Now 2nd and goal from the 7. Kearney State's defense can hold right now.
That's right, a field goal is much better than a touchdown. That's for darn sure. 16-0. and 20-0 are two entirely different things.
Slusser to the top of the screen. Williams and Brooks, the backfield. Griffiths fakes a pitch and gives to Brooks.
Good defensive play there. Who is that on the bottom of the pile? Got number 87 there.
Todd Gransky came in to make a stop for the Lopers. Also, Jeff Essman in on the play.
Todd from Beaver Crossing.
.12:53 remaining in the second quarter.
Third down. Third and goal. Hold them here. They maybe hold them to a field goal.
Slusser to the bottom of your screen. Griffiths rolls to his right, puts it up. Had a man in the end zone, and there's a flag. We might see some pass interference as the intended receiver was Dwayne Haley.
I don't know about that. That didn't look that bad, although certainly the official has a better angle on it than that. And you can't go through the receiver. You've got to go up and over and not touch him.
Well, in that instance, I think the Loper defender might have gone through him, as you mentioned. Now checking back in, Scott Janke for the Lopers.
That hurts a lot because we're talking now 1st and 10 on the 1, and you can all but kiss that one in the end zone unless the defense can get on their horse here.
Washburn now has 3rd and goal from the 2.
Didn't they give him an automatic first down on that? Maybe not. Yeah, first
yes,
down.
It is. With that pass interference, it's automatic first down, half the distance to the goal, so now they operate from the 3.
Oh, they've got a William Refrigerator Perry type guy in there at fullback, number 77. He must weigh about 280.
They use him as a lead blocker, and I don't think he's in there as... let's see where the ball is going to be spotted. It's close.
Big fullback's name is Bruno, number 77, Tom Bruno, 255 pounds. I think he's a defensive lineman. He's in there just to do a little blocking.
Williams, the ball carrier on that one, and then you see the ball lined up just shy of the goal line. 2nd and goal.
Might look for a sneak here.
Ball spotted at about the 1-inch line. Griffiths gives to Williams, and he's hit in the backfield.
87 once again, Todd Gransky from Beaver Crossing, hit him in the backfield. Looking at 3rd down now. And I believe Kearney State's defense is on their horse. They're one more down, and they can hold them to a field goal possibly.
Big play here if they can keep them from scoring 6, like you mentioned, Steve. 3, although you don't want them to score at all, but 3 is a little better than 6. So let's see what Washburn's going to operate out of here.
Got the big fullback out of there now. They're going to go a little speed, I believe.
Brooks and Williams in the backfield. Slusser at the bottom of your screen.
A flag. Too much time, possibly?
That'd be a good bet or some motion.
That helps a lot. It's on Washburn. A big difference between 7 yards and 2 yards. Delay of game.
Dave Murphy now back in the game for Washburn.
You can bet Washburn's going to put this one up. Kearney's got to have good coverage here. It's real easy to score on a pass down here because you just got to flick the ball about 5 yards and boom, it's there.
Murphy to the top of the screen. Williams and Brooks in the backfield. Griffiths the quarterback. Straight drop back. A lot of time. Going for Slusser in the end zone, and he caught it, but he's out of bounds.
Once again, a nice catch. He had 2 Lopers around him, and I can't believe he caught that. He was almost in there, and luckily for Kearney, he stepped out of bounds.
Nice camera work, as you can see that Washburn just ran out of real estate in the back of the end zone, and now that brings up 4th and goal. So you see that that penalty was a big factor in this Ichabod drive, and they're going to go for a field goal.
Dave Reuter, number 15 there, little 5'7", 145-pound freshman kicker.
Ball will be spotted at about the 13. The snap and the hold are good. And the kick is good. So tack on another 3, and the Washburn Ichabods now lead the Lopers 16-0. 12:57 remaining in the second quarter.
They did score 3, but it's kind of a little moral victory there. They kept them out of the end zone. Looks a lot better at 16 than at 20.
So Kearney defense held in that particular situation. And hopefully the offense can bounce back.
Excuse me, catch KSTV News Magazine Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. They'll inform you on the latest happenings in the Kearney community and what's going on campus. It's the KSTV News Magazine every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Let's get a good return here.
Banks is back for the Lopers.
Let's see if
also
Washburn's
Travis Valine
gonna cover any better this time. They might kick it away from Valine. Of course, Banks is no slouch himself.
Valine has had 2 excellent returns so far on the day. This time they do go to Banks.
Exactly what they do. Gonna go out of bounds, maybe. Yep.
And it just does trickle out of bounds at about the 6. So they'll back it up 5 and kick off this time from the 30. Kearney State has really lacked the big play this year with the return. Haven't seen too many scores coming from the special teams, but hopefully with Valine and Banks back there, Valine's popped off a couple of good returns today. He may break one yet.
Something we haven't seen yet today, and that is a pass to Paul Riley, the big tight end. He was a second-team CSIC player last year, and he's quite a horse. They throw it to him, and he usually does pretty well with the ball.
10:57 remaining in the second quarter. Washburn leading 16-0 at this point. Banks and Valine back to receive for Kearney. Five men on the initial line for the Lopers. Then the short men have 4.
Short kick.
And one of the short men may get this one. Noah Banks comes up and makes the catch at his own 30. Some room up the middle and gets out to about the 37-yard line before he's finally brought down.
Once again, good field position. And we haven't seen much out of the rushing game this week so far. In fact, nil. And last week they had a lot of trouble rushing it against Pittsburgh State. They got a meager 67 yards on about 37 carries. So rushing game not looking real well.
Shohan and Mosley now back in the game for the Lopers. They're in the backfield.
Got a new quarterback in there.
That's Russ Harvey. And he gives to Mosley straight up the middle. And he gets out to about the 43, so a pickup of about 4 yards. Nice gain on first down. Spot a little better than I anticipated. Now they're going to spot it at about the 44-yard line, so a pickup of 5, 2nd and 5 now for the Lopers.
That big offensive line of Kearney has got to sit back and fire out and get some room there for Pavich and Mosley.
Valine at the top of the screen, Banks at the bottom. Harvey rolling to his left.
Got him.
It's complete across midfield. Making the reception, number 86, Paul Riley for the Lopers, a big tight end, 6'4", 229.
That's what I was telling you about. The guy can get open, and he's got good hands, and once he gets the ball, he's a bull in there. Have a hard time getting him down.
Lopers on the drive here, now into Ichabod territory. Banks at the top of the screen. Shohan Mosley in the backfield. To give to Mosley. Nice. And he's down to about the 42-yard line of the Ichabods. Mosley, a quick little runner. They used to have him at a wide receiver position last year. Then they moved him to running back to utilize his speed, and it's paid off this year.
Indeed, he's done quite well this year so far. He's got 307 yards total, 61 yards a game.
Don Lee now back in the game at tight end for the Lopers. Valine at the top of the screen. The give to Shohan, and he picks up about 1 yard before he's tripped up.
It's a nice little submarine there by 57 Ensign. He's I think a returning second team CSIZ player, so he's quite a good player too. Big arms on him too.
Lee now the tight end at the bottom of the screen. Shohan, Mosley in the backfield. Banks at the top. Straight drop back under pressure.
Almost intercepted.
Pass intended, it looked like. It was intended for Riley, but there was contact as the pass got there. And
37 Dave Coker almost got that one. Lopers will probably have to punt here.
So incidental contact as both players went for the ball, no flag. And the Lopers are forced to punt on 4th and 4. 8:32 remaining in the second quarter. Back to receive Slusser for the Ichabods. Tight spiral kick. This one may bounce into the end zone, but it takes a little hop to the left side, and the Lopers are going to down it at about the 2. Banks got off a nice kick.
Paul Riley down there to stop the ball from going into the end zone.
There's a flag on the play, though. Flag back at about the 30-yard line, and
Might
let's
be
see.
A man leaving a little bit too soon. Well, we got some holding on Washburn.
Well, so that's probably going to march them back half the distance to the goal. And now they'll probably have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 2. So they can't really march them back too far. Washburn is now going to have to huddle up out of their own end zone. That's one thing the Loper defense may want to capitalize here. If they can huddle in the end zone, they may be able to stop them in the end zone as well.
Well, they can't stack up on the run too much because Washburn is a team that might just throw it up here and get a nice long gain. So you got to be wary of the pass just as well as the run.
Slusser at the bottom of the screen. This time they give to Wandex, and he's straight up the middle. Not a lot of running room. As we mentioned, the line and the linebacking core of the Lopers doing an excellent job pursuit-wise. They're closing up those holes fast. Haley is checked into the game now for the Ichabods. He's at the other split end position. Nice conditions, a breeze starting to pick up though. The give to Wandex off left tackle, and he's out to about the 8-yard line before he's tripped up once again. So not a lot of running room that the line or the linebackers are giving for the Ichabods. That's going to bring up 3rd and about 4. 7:32 left in the second quarter. Loper is trailing this game right now, 16-0, but a good defensive effort right here could get them excellent field position on the offensive side, and they could have a score here before time runs out in the half. Wandex and Williams in the backfield. Check that, that's Brooks.
Slusser.
Slusser on a little quick out to about the 18-yard line.
First down. Just a little sideline and little timing pattern. The quarterback threw it before he made his cut. And there it was for first down.
Slusser finally did touch the ground at the 15, so that's where the ball is going to be marked. Regardless, it's a first down for the Ichabods. 1st and 10 now from their own 15.
Lopers let him out of a hole there, and they've got to really tighten up.
The give to Wandex across the far side, and he cuts it back in the middle, where he picks up maybe about 3. Out to about the 17, maybe the 18. Checking out of the game now, Jeff Essman for the Lopers and Scott Yonke for the Lopers. Slusser now split to the bottom of the screen. Haley at the top. Wandix and Brooks now in the backfield. Barry Griffiths, the quarterback for the Ichabod. Straight drop. Puts it up for Slusser, and it's complete out about the 42-yard line before he's finally pushed out of bounds. Number 13,
nice
Rusty
catch.
Conrad on the stop.
What a nice catch. Looked to me like it might be a little overthrown. He just reached back and over, right into his hands. Soft hands on number 32 there.
Griffith is not afraid to throw into traffic. Slusser was covered by two Loper defenders and still put the ball into that area, and Slusser just comes down with it. And I know he's over 100 yards now. He's had 2 receptions for 20 yards and 1 for about 30 on that touchdown.
Loper's going to have to pop that Slusser a couple of times, and somebody got popped over there.
Wondex is hit in the backfield by Kirk Metzger. Metzger, a 6'3" junior out of Bancroft. He weighs in at 245 in that defensive tackle position. Checking out for the Lopers, there we go, Dave Collin.
You could call him loafers now.
Well, we don't want to upset anybody. They're doing a pretty good job on defense right now. 2nd and 11 for the Ichabods. Lopers there.
Lopers.
2 backs for the Ichabods. They send them out on pass routes. They've got Brooks, and he dropped the ball wide open and across midfield.
Might have saw some footsteps, some great big footprints coming towards him.
Williams now back into the game for the Ichabods. And Brooks will check out. So now the Ichabods have a lot of speed in that backfield with Wandix and Williams. Williams, who's usually the I-back. Slusser at the bottom of the screen. Haley at the top. Griffith, a lot of time to pass. Puts it up for Slusser, intended for Slusser at the near end zone, near sideline, excuse me.
Mike Arnold from David City, number 18 there to put the hit. Made him drop the ball, number 32 there. He didn't hold on to the ball that time.
Now into kick for the Ichabods, number 43, Al Knipper. And he's standing at his own 26-yard line. Back to receive. Banks.
Kevin Lyons back there, number 5.
Lyons calling for a fair catch at the 25, and he'll get it. So the Lopers will take over 1st and 10 from their own 25. 4:53 left in the second quarter. Harvey will be the quarterback on this particular series for the Lopers. I don't know whether Coach Boroff is sitting hurt down because of inability to move the Lopers or an injury, but Harvey is now the quarterback. Pavich, the I-back. Shohan, fullback. To give to Pavich. He's got some room out across to about the 24-yard line.
Good
so that hole is
speed
shut down quickly.
On the 2 linebackers there. Looked like Pavich might be able to outrun him around the outside, but they stayed right with him.
Pavich got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe even lost a yard on the play.
Once again, Loper's having a lot of trouble moving the football.
Don Lee checking out for the Lopers as they come up to the ball. Banks split to the near side. Valine at the top. Shohan and Pavich now out of the pro set. Harvey taking a lot of time with the signal. Straight drop. Wants to pass. Looked like that might have been intended for Riley. As he was coming out of the tight end position. Valine was also in the area, but the ball was underthrown for Valine and overthrown for Riley. So
that doesn't work.
Can't really tell who's the intended receiver on that particular play.
Tell you, I'm real impressed with Washburn's defensive line and offensive line. Those guys have got great big arms. They look like NFL players. Great big, huge arms.
Banks at the bottom of the screen. Riley drops back. A lot of time to throw. Puts it up. Intended for Banks.
Banks had his hands on it. Went right through.
Banks was hit hard as the ball arrived in his vicinity. Ryan Siss was the other receiver at the top of the screen, and he was doing a little crossing pattern. Was open just for a moment, but Harvey didn't see him. So now Banks, after getting hit hard on that play, will do the kicking for the Lopers. Slusser is back to receive for the Ichabods. Once again, they have 10 men on the line. Almost blocked. Banks gets off a good kick. Slusser takes it from his 38.
Good coverage.
And the Lopers are there on the spots. No return on the play, so the Ichabods will take over from their own 38. Steve Crawford along with Jim Taylor this afternoon, bringing you Loper football from Foster Field. Right now the Lopers trail 16-0, 3:55 in the second quarter remaining.
Just enough time for Washburn to move it down the field so the Lopers can't relax here.
Slusser and Haley split to the bottom of your screen. Brooks and Williams, now the running backs. Griffith wants to pass, pumps once. The intended receiver was Haley, and the ball's underthrown.
Both receivers over here were well covered. Slusser and number 7, Haley there, just ran straight down the field. There are about 4 Lopers over here, and he really didn't have anybody open.
Kearney State needs to get the ball back here and get some points on the board before half.
That would be a big boost, even if it was a field goal.
Exactly, for at least for motivational factors. Slusser at the top of the screen. The give, it's a fake. They fake to give to Williams, and Griffith is sacked.
Big hit put on there by Brent Bauer, a 6'5", 248-pound junior from Kennesaw. Got right in the backfield, messed up things good.
So that's the first sack of the game for the Lopers, and the Ichabods don't give up too many of those. Only had 4 coming into this game.
That makes 5. Obvious passing situation right now for Washburn.
3 receivers now to the near side. Wandix, Haley, and Slusser at the bottom of the screen. Griffith, straight drop, quick drop. Wandix has the ball across midfield, and I think he's surprised that the ball was thrown in his direction.
Indeed, he turned around and it hit him, and then he decided to catch it. It's a nice throw. He hadn't been open. They had 2 guys running down, straight down the field, and then they had Slusser going to run a drag across the middle, and they hit Haley with a nicer pass.
Now the Ichabods once again on the move. 1st and 10 from the Loper 43-yard line. 2:55 left in the third quarter. Slusser at the bottom of the screen. Fumble. It's kicked around, and I think Griffith might have fell on it again. Let's see as they unpile them.
Washburn must have got it there. The Lopers should probably be jumping all over the place.
Griffith was able to fall on it again. He fumbled as he pulled away from the snap, and then a couple of people kicked it around. And Griffith finally was able to land on it.
Washburn has been able to make these kind of mistakes and come out ahead simply because they're converting on 3rd down. Several times they've had them in 3rd and long, and they've converted.
2:16 in the clock running here in the second quarter. Time winding down for the half. Slusser now to the bottom of your screen. Wandix at the top. A lot of receivers go out. Griffith a lot of time. The intended receiver was Haley, and he can't hang on, and he's given a good pop, a good greeting by number 13, Rusty Conrad, as he came across the middle.
Had 6 Lopers out there surrounding Haley out there. He was pretty well covered, although he could have caught it.
.202 left in the second quarter. Ichabod still trying to get some points on the board. I know they'd like to at least get down into field goal range. Dave Murphy and Slusser to the near side. Griffith straight drop back. Now rolls to his left a little bit. Puts it up into a crowd of Lopers, and it's completed. I think that might be Wandix or Murphy. Let's see.
Precision passing on Griffith's part.
It's neither. It's Brooks as he came out of the backfield.
Loper's heading, we're all over him. And just pinpoint passing right in there. Another first down for Washburn. Lopers have got a hold here.
Phillip Brooks, the receiver on that play, 5'9", 205 junior out of Missouri. Brooks now the fullback. Slusser to the bottom of the screen. Wandix the I-back. They fake to Wandix. Griffith with a lot of time to throw the ball. It's tipped and incomplete as the intended receiver was Slusser. He was down around the 15-yard line providing coverage for the Lopers, Rusty Conrad, but the ball was tipped at the line. I don't know who got a hand on it.
Once again, though, Slusser had a half step on Conrad and had the ball been there. Probably been another completion.
2nd and 10 now for the Ichabods from the Loper 32.
Washburn does that along. They move Slusher across the field, and they hit him that way a lot.
Griffith rolls to his right, runs out of real estate, but gets the ball off, and it's complete. Now the Ichabod's in a hurry-up offense. Dave Murphy on that reception, and now he's split to the bottom of the screen. As
good play by Murphy to come back to the quarterback after the quarterback was scrambling for his life there, and got a nice little dump-off reception there for a first down.
So instead of using a timeout here, the Ichabods call for a measurement. They have that right. So the sticks are measured, and it looks like they're going to be a little short. They must be down there checking to see if the nose of the football is dented in a little bit or something. Ichabods are going to be short, however, and that's going to...
Well, you know, sometimes that happens. The old football gets dented in. One of those big guys falls on it.
It could be 3rd and inches, or it could be a first down for the Ichabods. Looks like it's going to be 3rd and inches for Washburn. As that ball was completed to Murphy. And the ball now rests on the Loper 22. So Murphy and Slusser to the bottom of the screen. Griffith will now work out of a shotgun.
Got man-to-man coverage over here at the bottom of your screen.
Wandix and Williams in the backfield. Here's Griffith, steps up into the pocket, throws, and it's intended for Slusser, but it's grounded into the ground. Conrad once again on the coverage.
Good coverage that time by Conrad. He was, in fact, ahead of the receiver, and good play there.
4th down now. Do you go for the points before the half, or do you try to kick a field goal?
I go for the first down. Are they about a yard short? Or actually, they're about 6 inches short. So that was just kind of a waste down. They were going to try and put it into the end zone, then thinking that they'd put Bruno in there, number 77, a big 255-pounder, to maybe pound it up there for a couple of inches.
Bruno now the fullback. The give to Williams, you know that's automatic, and I think they possibly got the first down.
Yeah, they got about a yard and a half, maybe 2 on that play.
So Bruno, the big fullback for the Ichabods, as they pull a page out of the Chicago Bears playbook and have a big fullback going through. And now the Ichabods are going to call a timeout with 1:03 remaining before the half. Lopers are going to use this timeout to talk things over defensively because they would sure not want to let the Ichabods score before half and go down 23-0 into the locker room.
Hey, if music makes your world go round, then hey, don't miss Rock World right here on KSTV, cable channel 25. That's every Sunday at 2 p.m., Tuesday at 6 p.m., and Thursday at 5 p.m. That's a 2-hour rock and roll type show with all kinds of entertainment.
Loper crowds settling back right now, watching the Lopers trying to battle back from a 16-0 deficit. Homecoming is next week.
A lot of activities planned for that. All week long, they in a pie-eating contest that ought to be outrageous. What do you call that when you got the chairs and you go around it?
Musical chairs.
That's right, that's right. Musical chairs. And just all kinds of crazy things going on this next week at Kearney State College.
Lopers would sure like to have a win going into that homecoming game because the homecoming game is always a lot of emotion. Here are the Ichabods, 1st and 10 from the 22. Griffith, straight drop. He has Brooks over on the near side. Breaks a tackle out across to about the 13-yard line. He goes out of bounds.
Brooks is a slippery 205-pound running back. He's caught about 4 passes so far this game.
Scott Baker, a junior out of Lincoln East, made the stop as he pushed him out of bounds. And now the Ichabods have 2nd and 3 from the Loper 13-yard line. 55 seconds remaining on the board.
Coming in today, Brooks had only caught 4 passes for 33 yards. And so they're making good use of him today.
Murphy at the top. Griffiths out of the shotgun, rolls to his right, under heavy pressure, gets the ball off. It's caught. Murphy stuck with the ball.
He might have even got hit before the ball got there, but nonetheless, he caught the ball. And it'll be first down there, about the 1-yard line, 2-yard line.
Kevin Lyons providing the coverage for the Lopers. But he hung on, and now the Ichabods have 1st and goal once again from the 3 of the Lopers. They've had that a couple of times today.
Really won't look good if they score here.
Griffiths out of the shotgun, wants to pass, puts the ball up, and he threw that one away as Slusser was covered in the end zone.
Big Todd Kransky popped the quarterback there. Griffin's a good one. A couple of those, and they get a little gun shy.
Well, the Lopers held the last time the Griffiths were down inside Loper territory. They were able to hold them for only 3 points, and now the Loper defense is...
Crowd getting up for this one.
Wanting the crowd to get in.
Lopers have got to hold them here, or they might be in big trouble. 23-0 is a big deficit to come back from.
Griffiths rolls to his left. He's looking for
Touchdown.
Slusser, and he's got him. Check that. That's Murphy on the TD reception. And that score comes with 36 seconds remaining before half. So now the Ichabods go up 22-0. And you can just feel the lull over the crowd and the players on the Loper side as the Ichabods are dominating this game at this point.
I'd say it's safe to say that the Washburn passing game is on its mark today.
Well, we'll have to see coming back from half if the Ichabods used all their scoring opportunities in the first half, and we'll see if they can score a point in the third quarter. .36 seconds remaining before the half, and the Ichabods have called a timeout. It looks like they're going to talk over possibly going for 2.
Well, they might not have had enough men on the field there. They lined up for the kick. And then they looked around at each other like where's Charlie or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they are going to go for 2.
Reuter comes off. He's the place kicker for Washburn, and it looks like they are going to go for 2. And in these short yardage situations, when they're in close to the goal line, they've gone to the shotgun formation, so we may see that again as Griffiths is the quarterback. Wandix and Brooks in the backfield. Murphy and Slusser split to the bottom of the screen. Griffiths, quick drop, a lot of time, still a lot of time to throw, and he threw into a crowd, was looking for Slusser. So the point after play is no good, and the Ichabods still lead 22-0 with 36 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Too much time to pass there for Griffiths. Tell you what, they were really lucky not to have those 2 points go against them.
Almost wish I would have brought a stopwatch today because he had about 6 seconds on that particular play.
Good coverage in the secondary, however. You got to credit them for staying with him.
Banks of Valine back to receive for Kearney.
This is the most exciting plays of the game right here. Valine returning quite a few back quite a ways, and see what he can do this time.
Ichabod's getting set to kick off. Reuter will do it from his own 35. Back once again for the Lopers. That's Banks and Valine. Here comes Washburn. It's a low squib kick. Touched at the 35. And that's where the Lopers will take over. Downing it for the Lopers, number 26, Monty Fife.
Probably a good idea. He probably wouldn't have gotten very far anyway. He stops virtually no time went off the clock, and the Lopers will have more time to set up and try and get at least a field goal out of this.
Well, right there you can see they're respecting the Lopers' return ability in Valine and Banks. Banks, who's now split to the bottom of your screen. Aerosmith and Mosley in the backfield. The give to Mosley. Straight up the middle, and he's dropped at about the 38-yard line.
Kearney's just content with running out the clock, regrouping here at halftime, and coming out and see what they can do.
"18 seconds and the clock is running. So let's see if the Lopers can get off another play. I think they'll have to before the second half. Valine at the top of the screen. Aerosmith and Mosley in the backfield. Pass intended for Banks or Valine, and it's intercepted. But there'll be no return, and that's the end of the first half, and the Lopers trail 22-0.
KSTV will broadcast this game between Kearney and Washburn this Thursday at 7:30 on cable channel 25. Stay tuned for the second half.
Well, right now, the KSC Marching Bandtastic's on the field. We invite you to stay tuned for Parents' Day here live from Foster Field.
Presentation of 4 power-packed music compositions. Rimsky Korsakov
Welcome back to Antelope football between Kearney State and Washburn. Taking a look at the statistics here at halftime, it's no wonder that Washburn is up 22-0. First downs look like this. Washburn has 14. Kearney State has a meager 2. In rushing yardage, well, that's kind of even. Washburn has rushed the ball 21 times for 41 yards, and Kearney has rushed the ball 13 for 31. Neither one doing very much. Passing yardages, that's where the story comes. Passing yards, Washburn has 241, Kearney just 25. Washburn has completed 16 of 29 for those 241 yards, while Kearney has completed just 2 of 11 attempts for 25 yards, 2 interceptions. And total yards there, you're looking at 282 at halftime for Washburn, just 56 for Kearney. And probably the biggest thing is time of possession. Kearney has run off just 24 plays to 50 for Washburn. And I tell you what, it could get worse.
It could if Kearney's defense doesn't rise to the occasion. Right now, they've yielded 22 points, and I think things are only going to get worse before they get better right now, unless they make some major adjustments to combat this potent Ichabod offense.
Well, actually, on the scoreboard, for having 282 yards total offense, 22 points isn't that many. He times that by 2, that's almost 600 total yards offense, and that is a lot of yards to be given up.
It really is, and Kearney's defense all year has had that problem. They've given up some big offensive yards to opposing teams, and their offense occasionally just hasn't been able to bounce back and make up the difference.
You figure 241 yards passing by Washburn, 150 of them have had to go to a Slusser.
Slusser came into this game averaging 122 yards a game, and right now he's probably bumped that average up a good 30 yards. He's having a stellar performance today. He's caught one TD pass that went for about 30 yards and a couple more completions for about 20 yards apiece, so he's up there.
So if he duplicates this in the second half, which we hope he won't, we might see his name in Sports Illustrated on
faces in the crowd. We just made that.
Player of the Week in NAIA Division I football.
Probably the big story right now, the only highlight of the game that Kearney can look at has been their return yards on kickoffs. We don't have it down in the official halftime statistics, but they're up there because Kearney's Valine has popped up a couple of returns. The opening return that we thought may set up the tempo of the game went down to the Ichabod 30. That was a return of well over 60 yards, and that's been about it for Kearney.
Well, the second half, I believe Washburn will want the ball, so we'll get a chance to do that right away, unless Washburn scores on their first possession. Lopers have not come out on the field yet, and halftime activities have subsided with the band leaving the field.
We'd like to remind you you're watching KSTV, cable channel 25 in Kearney, Nebraska. This broadcast is produced by students in the broadcasting department at Kearney State College.
Here come the Lopers on the field right now. Got to keep their heads up high and work this second half to try and get back in this game. 22 points is not insurmountable. That's only 3 touchdowns. And so the Lopers, if they can put on a different face than what they showed us in the first half, well, this could be a ball game yet.
Kearney State is going to have to make some big defensive adjustments, offensive adjustments as well. We saw that Gary Hurt came out about halfway through the second quarter, and Russ Harvey was put in at quarterback, and neither one of the quarterbacks really has produced offensively like I'm sure Coach Claire Boroff is expecting today, so we'll see what kind of adjustments and changes are made.
Well, I'll tell you what, other than a couple of plays, the Kearney State defense has not played that poorly. What has played great is the quarterback to receiver for Washburn. I mean, they're throwing passes and making catches that really there's not much the defense can do except knock the guy's head off, which, of course, they haven't been doing, but it's just been good throw and catch for Washburn. Kearney State's defense has not played awful. A lot of times they've got the receiver covered, and he catches it anyway.
Great hands. Attribute that to Slusser. Murphy made an excellent catch down around the goal line for the Ichabods, and He had to contend with a Loper defender and still was able to make the catch after the Lopers had bounced him around a couple of times.
Loper's taking the field to kick off. Of course, Lopers have been shut out twice by Washburn, and the only 2 shutouts that Washburn's ever had in the last 5 years. So they might be looking for a third here, but let's hope not.
Kearney State was shut out last year, like you mentioned, and they're on their way right now this year to get shut out again. So hopefully they're going to break the scoreless string that they have found themselves in, spellbound almost by Washburn.
Number 81, Darren Gragra-Holtz, kicking off for Kearney State. And the second half is underway. Good kick into the end zone over Halley's head. Come out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10, Washburn.
Well, I stepped out during the half, and I noticed that the wind has picked up just a little bit out of the north. You look over there to the flagpole, and it's got the flags fluttering around at a pretty good clip. So I'm guessing the wind right now is probably about 10, maybe 15 miles an hour out of the north.
Also notice it's getting a little more chilly in here, too. So we start hopping around, we're just keeping warm up here. Griffiths brings him up to the line at the 20-yard line. Loper's in a 5-3 defense. Handoff in there, doesn't get much. Number 20, Brooks. He's out to the, well, I guess he got about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Mike White made the initial contact for the Lopers.
Come out in the I formation. Slusser down at the bottom of your screen. White out left. Pitch out to, that's Williams. He's going to throw the ball. He's going long. He's got a guy open, but he underthrows the ball. We're looking at pass interference right there. Just a simple case of not knowing where the ball was, and he just ran into the receiver.
You're absolutely right on that. Dan Gall was the defender on that play, and he just got himself turned around and not knowing where the ball was, and Dave Murphy was the intended receiver. And he tried to come back for the ball, but Gall just got in his way, so that's why the flag was thrown.
Can't really fault the defender in that. He doesn't know that the ball is underthrown, and the receiver just stops, and it's kind of like a domino effect. You just kind of run into the guy in front of you. Maybe they're going to call
pass interference on the defense is what the call is going to be, and that's going to be a big
15-yard penalty
for the Ichabods.
The 1st and 10 for the Ichabods at the 40-yard line. Lopers have got to buckle up. Griffiths brings them up to the line there in an I formation. 2 wideouts. Haley in motion, coming towards you. Looks like the Lopers might have jumped off sides there. He's going to pull it down and run out of bounds for a gain of a couple.
I thought I saw a flag thrown by the near line judge.
Doesn't look to be a flag. I don't see one. Looked like the Lopers jumped offside there and even made some contact. But
I thought I saw a flag thrown by the near side judge.
Well, they're marking off something, so it was offside on Kearney. So 1st and 5 now. And it doesn't get any easier than 1st and 5.
That's a good position to be in if you could have that every series.
Williams, number 27, back in the game, and he didn't play a whole lot in the first half. Number 20, now they're in a split set. Brooks, the fullback. Griffiths back to throw, and he's got him open again. Underthrown and picked off there. That's number 2, Don Savage. Scott Baker, excuse me, from Lincoln East. And finally, Washburn has Well, they've screwed up for the first time. The quarterback threw a bad pass, picked off there. The receiver, however, was open. But Loper's 1st and 10 right now at the 13-yard line.
Ball was a little underthrown by Griffiths. You might attribute that to the wind coming out of the north. We mentioned that it's coming at a pretty good clip right now, about 10 miles an hour, so that's probably why it was underthrown.
Okay, Gary Hurt bringing him up. Got a split backfield, Shohan and Mosley in the backfield. It's Mosley on a crossbuck. Mosley gets good yardage out to the 19. That's a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Checking out of the game now for the Lopers, number 34, Greg Mayberry.
Got 2 receivers wide out there. Got Doug Banks on the far left over there. Gary Hurt barks out the signals. Maybe an audible. Rolls out. And we don't know who that was for.
Not really a good pass thrown by Hurt. That was
might have slipped off his hand a little bit there.
Right, that wasn't the good spiral you like to see by some of the by the quarterback. And that ball, I don't know, it might have been either tipped at the line or Hurt maybe just not following through properly.
Got a big tight end going in there. Rose. Don Lee, excuse me. Third down, about 3. Pitch it to Mosley. Cuts up inside. He's got the 1st down and then some. Nice running, Chuck Mosley, number 21 there.
Also on that play, good downfield blocking by the Kearney State offensive line. Number 73, Keith Hauser, came out and made a good block on one of the linebackers. That enabled a bigger hole for Mosley to scoot through right over that right tackle position. So good offensive line blocking.
That is Kearney State's 3rd first down of the game. It's 1st and 10, the 26-yard line. Washburn. Their own, excuse me, the Lopers' 26-yard line. Straight handoff to Shohan. He doesn't get much, maybe a yard.
There you see the pile up. Not a lot of running room that the Ichabods are giving across that line of scrimmage. Holes are closing down rather quickly.
Washburn, a very impressive defense, and you got to wonder. Northeastern Oklahoma State defeated them 35-30. That must have been quite a shootout. Little breakdown there in the offensive line, and it ended up in a sack. Gary Hurt going down way back at the 19-yard line. That's a loss of about 8 yards.
The play looked kind of slow developing. Frank Lemus was the tackler for the Ichabods. I don't know what they were trying to do. It looked like a fake, maybe going back to pass was Hurt.
Well, Lemus just made a lot of penetration there. Somebody missed their block, and it got right in there in their cross-bucking play-action pass. Little dump-off pass to Mosley here. He's got a couple of blocks in front of him, but there's too many Ichabods, and he goes down about the 24-yard line, short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down. The Lopers will have to punt.
Banks was the split end providing downfield blocking on that, and he had 2 Ichabods that he had to take on, and Mosley just ran out of real estate as the Washburn players had the angle on him and closed it off fast.
4th down and about 13. Banks set the punt. 10 men on the line of scrimmage for the Ichabods. 9 of them come, and a pretty fair punt. Very fair, very, very nice punt. Traces Slusser all the way back to the 10-yard line, and he's going to be running out of gas there, out of bounds at the 20, a 10-yard return, and that helped out a lot. Doug Banks.
Banks kicked that one away from Slusser, respecting Slusser's speed and his ability, and that ball took a Kearney State Loper hop all the way down to the 15 before Slusser finally tracked it down.
61-yard punt there. Actually, he picked it up at the 10. You could call it a 66-yard punt for Banks. He had a real long one a couple of weeks ago, I believe, too, 80-some yards. So he can get some long ones every once in a while. 1st and 10 to 20-yard line for the Ichabods. Got an eye set. Got a tight end standing up there. Griffiths takes the snap and drops back to throw. He's got a man over the middle. It's a screen. 27 Williams can't hold on to it. He's 2nd down and 10.
Griffith might have been feeling some pressure from the backside as Scott Yankee was coming over to apply a little defensive pressure. Also, Todd Gransky got it in the backfield. They weren't able to get to Griffith before he released the ball.
Kearney State's offense huddling down below us here, trying to figure out what makes this wild bunch defense of Washburn ticks. It's 2nd down at the 20-yard line for the Ichabods. Griffith's going to hand off to number 3. That's Wandix at 5'9", 160-pounder, just a little guy out of St. Louis. There's a flag on the play. I believe it's on Washburn. Illegal motion on the Ichabods.
Well, while the officials are marking this off, we'd like to remind you if your campus or community organization would like an event listed on KSTV's video bulletin board, call 234-8251. This is a free service provided by KSTV through Kearney State College. The video bulletin board can be seen on this channel before and after our regular programming.
Okay, declined the penalty. They don't want it. It's 3rd down and 6. Washburn has converted several times on 3rd down. Let's see what happens this time. Little screen out of the backfield again, and he's short of the 1st down. Of course, is number 3, Wandix, little guy out of St. Louis, and it'll bring up 4th down and about a yard. Washburn's going to punt it.
On that particular play, you saw Wandix, he was lined up in the backfield, and he came up like he's going to be a blocker, and then he flared out to the near side, and Griffith just dumped it off to him. I almost thought that they may have set up a backward lateral pass and may have attempted to throw it ahead further, but Wandix, using his agility and speed, was able to move the ball upfield.
Loper's looking for a good return here. They fair catch the ball. Probably could have run with it rather than fair caught it and got a few yards, but he elected to fair catch it, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Kearney once again. Ball is on the 43-yard line.
Well, Kearney State College's offense is going to have to get going here. They're going to be going with the wind in the 3rd quarter, and this is the time when they're going to have to put some points on the board. They can't sit back and wait for the 4th quarter to happen, and then they start to click. It's got to happen now.
Loper's ice formation. They throw it to Pavich. Pavich gets knocked down about the 47-yard line. Pick up about 4 yards, maybe 3. We'll call it 2nd down and 6.
Leading the play on that for the Lopers, Brian Casper, had to take on 2 Ichabod players in that particular play. And if he could have dealt both of them out of the way, I think Pavich could have gone for a little more.
Pavich looks like he turned an ankle. The trainers are looking at him down on the sideline there. Mosley back in the ball game. Shohan, the fullback there in the I formation. 2nd down, 7. Gary Hurt drops back to throw. He's got 2 receivers running down the field, and he's underthrown. This is could have been picked off. Good play there by Banks to break that up. Kind of an offensive turned defensive player there.
On that pass play, I was watching the pass protection that the Loper line is providing. Brian Casper and Dennis Faze, and they were taking on 2 Ichabod players, and there is hands and everything going into face masks. They're really battling it out down there in the trenches. Those linemen are working hard today.
Oh, yeah, they got it's trees down there. I'll tell you what, both sides, humongous men down there. It's 3rd down and 7, I formation. It's a draw play to Mosley, and he's got some room. He's going to get the 1st down by a couple of yards. He got 9 down to the 44-yard line. Nice running there by Chuck Mosley.
Ryan Sisk provided downfield blocking on that. He had taken out his man, and if Mosley could have kept on his feet and got around that block that Sisk had thrown, he could have picked up probably about 10 more yards, maybe even broken it.
1st down and 10, 45-yard line for Kearney State. They're driving. I formation, got receivers split wide on the right and left. Maybe making an audible here. Dive to Shohan. He gets a little daylight, and he gets 8 yards out of it. Shohan, the leading rusher last week against Pittsburgh State. Their meager offensive front let him get about 69 yards. He had 25 of those last week. Good run this time.
Well, by being the leading rusher last week, that really doesn't say a lot for the Loper offense.
Not at all.
He only picked up 25 yards. Shohan averages 31 on the season.
Chuck Mosley last week picked up 24 on 14 carries. Now that's under 2 yards a carry, but looks like they're doing better this half. A little trap play, and it goes nowhere. Mosley gets knocked down hard. Number 31, Holbrook.
Lopers tried a little counter sweep there on that particular play, and the Ichabod saw that one coming a mile away. They were able to get in the backfield. Good penetration on the Ichabod line.
Real important here for the Lopers to get something out of this. It's 3rd down and 7. They need a first down. 7:12 left in the 3rd quarter. They need to get something going. I formation. Gary Hurt is going to throw the football. He gets sacked.
Boy, that's getting into the backfield. Frank Loomis flew right over his would-be blocker, number 21 for the Lopers. Chuck Mosley came up. Loomis didn't even bother to go around him. He just went right over him and dove after Hurt.
Pretty impressive. Loss of 9 yards. Banks back to punt it. Looking for another nice punt. Back deep for Washburn. Slusser. Pretty fair punt. Nice high. Slusser's signaling for a fair catch, and he takes it about the 9-yard line. Long way to go for Washburn. 1st and 10 there at their own 9.
I'd like to remind you not to miss the Claire Boroff Show. That happens every Sundays at 4:30 p.m. and Thursdays at 7. Coach Boroff and the KSTV staff take an in-depth look at the ins and outs of KSC football. The Claire Boroff Show happens every Sundays at 4:30 and Thursdays at 7.
That happens to be a very well-produced show. Very good show that's put together there for Claire Boroff. 1st and 10, 9-yard line. Ball handed off. Didn't get too much. Might have got 3, maybe 4. It'll be 2nd down.
That's one thing that the Lopers are going to have to stop this half is on first down plays. They're going to have to not let the Loper or the Ichabods pick up more than 3 yards, because if they're looking at 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, it really gives the Ichabods a little more wide open options out of their offense. We've seen the shotgun formation, and they're going to go to passes if they have 2nd and 5.
2nd down, 6 yards to go. I formation. Receivers right and left, out split wide. Griffiths back to throw. He's got a guy right over the middle, and that hit him in the wrong place, I think.
Right in the hands.
That's right.
Number 25,
right
Bruce Mellon.
Maybe in the face mask, I'm not sure.
Mellon had a clean shot at that. The ball didn't look like it was tipped or anything. Just a nice little flip over there by Griffiths, right over the middle, and I think Mellon was just a little too wide open. Probably surprised him.
We come to yet another 3rd down play for Washburn. They've converted probably 3/4 or more of these, and this one's a pretty important one right here. Split backs. Incomplete to Halley. He was the intended receiver. Washburn will have to punt. Kearney could get pretty good field goal position, position to score out of this.
On that last play by Washburn, Griffiths dropped back. He looked to his left just for a moment. Brooks was open. He was the safety valve man over here in the flat. Griffiths looked at him just for a second and then decided to go downfield. I think if he would have thrown to Brooks, they would have picked up the first down.
A good run back here would be very desirable for Kearney. Both men standing on about the 45-yard line. Kicks it right to him. Fair caught it, and he should have. Kearney State takes over 1st and 10, the 45-yard line. Even a field goal would help out right here, just to break the ice a little bit and get over that mental hump. Got Mosley and Janke now in the backfield at fullback. Gary Hurt, the quarterback. Draw play doesn't go very far. In fact, he lost about 3. That's Mosley, the ball carrier.
Good penetration by Washburn. Wade Dennis got into the backfield. Also, Jeff Herder was in there to mess things up for the Lopers. So Kearney State's offensive line, the blocking assignment's deteriorating just a little too quickly right now, and Washburn's getting good penetration on these plays.
Not a whole lot to cheer about for Claire Boroff's team. Looking for his 106th victory, and things aren't looking too good. Little quick pass. Got Riley out there, out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Look for Riley, great receiver, a tight end. He'd missed a couple of games at the beginning of the season. Coming into today, it caught 7 passes for 130 yards, but that's not indicative of what he can actually do. That's his second catch today.
Riley's a tight end out of Spalding Academy, 6'4", 229. And you saw that just before he went out of bounds. He knew he was going to get hit by number 21, Anthony Bryan. So he decided just to give a little hit back. That's something you like to see.
That's true. I formation, receiver split wide to the left and right. Now they move to the split backs. Gary Hurt's going to drop back and throw the ball. He rolls out, and it's intercepted. This could be a score. It will be a score. The 30, 25, 20. Big fullback, Janke, trying to run him down, but couldn't do it. Touchdown to Washburn. And that's not what we wanted to see.
Howard Holbrook on the interception for the Ichabods. Aerosmith was the last Loper that had a shot at him, and you saw that his pursuit was just a little too late. So now Washburn finally breaks their third quarter scoring spell.
That's true. They hadn't scored in the third quarter before now, and their defense did it. Gary Hurt suffering his 3rd interception. His first interception almost went for a touchdown. That one finally did. Washburn set for the extra point. Looks to be good. 4:37 left in the third quarter. It's Washburn 29, Kearney State 0.
KSTV Cable USA and the Kearney State Athletic Department would like to thank the following sponsors for this game: the Palm Garden Lounge, El Charro del Norte Restaurant, Misco's Sporting Goods, Nick's Gyros, and Platte Valley State Bank and Trust for all their help in bringing you this KSCV football game. Jim Taylor along with Steve Crawford today. Right now the Lopers down in a big hole, 29-0. Washburn out front with 4:37 remaining in the third quarter.
Washburn set to kick off. Loper is hoping for a good return, one of the bright spots of the game. The offense moved the ball a little bit this last series, but then some big plays caused them to come down. And got Russ Harvey warming up on the sideline. I expect we'll see him this next series. Return up to about the 37-yard line for the Lopers. And we will see Russ Harvey out of Grand Island. He went to high school at Northwest there. Had a good game last week. He threw for 211 yards, a couple of touchdowns in their loss to Pittsburgh State, 42-21. I formation, Shohan and Mosley in the backfield. Got a wing back and wide receiver at the top of your screen. It's Mosley. Not a lot of running room. Got a couple. That's it.
In on the stop for Washburn, number 59, Wade Dennis. Also in on the play, Stuart Ensign.
Second down and 7. The ball is on the Kearney 39-yard line. 2 receivers at the top of your screen. I formation. Probably look for a throw here. Russ Harvey hands off to Shohan straight up the middle, and there's nothing to it.
Kearney came into this game averaging 3.5 yards a carry, and you can see in the second half that average is going to lower just a little bit. 145 yards rushing overall in the game, average-wise, and I'm assuming after these statistics are released after this game, Kearney's running game really has been very effective today.
Well, even 3.5 yards rushing on season, that's not a real good rushing per attempt for a team as a whole. Got third down and 7. Shohan didn't get a thing. I formation. Russ Harvey's going to run the option coming down the line. He's got room. He's going to get the first down, and he's still on his feet, down to the 49-yard line. Nice pickup there of about 12 yards for Russ Harvey. Maybe they should do a little bit more of that.
That option on that play spread things out. It might have caught Washburn in a different defensive alignment. They weren't expecting an option. That's the first time we've seen that today.
Well, somebody over there knocked down their defensive end, and it was pretty wide open over on the that side of the field. First down and 10. They're into Washburn territory at 49-yard line. So far, they're moving the ball. Got Mosley. He gets hit head on, and well, we got a helmet flying around. Getting pretty wicked in there.
Boy, I tell you what, Washburn is really popping down there in the line. Wade Dennis came up and made the stop on Mosley, and he hit him with something that Mosley's going to probably remember and feel until tomorrow.
Shohan, he's so tough, he doesn't want to play with his helmet. He said, get this thing off me, I'm ready to go. But he put it back on, I guess. You got the second down and 8. Russ Harvey, the quarterback. He's going to run the option again, pitches out, and they played that well. They were waiting for that. Got a defensive back coming up there to swarm all over Mosley.
Really nothing you can do in that particular play because both options on that particular play were covered. Mike Cardoza came on, and he's the one that made the stop, but you have 2 defensive players. One is assigned to the quarterback on the option, the other one on the running back, and both of them were covered, so that play was destined for doom from the beginning.
Okay, third down long, about 13 yards to go. Maybe running an audible here. Harvey takes the snap, throws a quick in, and that could have been intercepted. Incomplete. Bring up fourth down. Kearney will punt yet again.
Well, if they could have completed that pass to Valine would have split 2 defenders and probably would have had 1 to deal with, and that's it, because he could have gone for big yards, but the ball was thrown just a little bit behind him. So regardless, it's an incomplete pass, and now the Lopers have to punt.
Slusser back deep for Washburn to receive the punt. Doug Banks set the punt. Punting quite well today. Gets off another beauty into the end zone for a touchback. It'll be first and 10 Washburn, 20-yard line. .106 left in the third quarter. Got 16 minutes left in the game. It's Washburn 29, Kearney State 0.
I'd like to remind you that this game will be tape delayed. KSTV will rebroadcast this game between Kearney and Washburn this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on Channel 25.
Williams, Brooks, and Haley in the backfield along with Griffiths. Haley goes in motion. Got a little extracurricular activity there.
Todd Gransky saw he was in the backfield. The quarterback still had the ball, and boy, If you're a defensive lineman or a linebacker, that's one thing you like to see. You're in the backfield and you've got a clean shot at the quarterback. So even though the play was dead, Kransky was still going to go ahead and take a shot at him.
Of course, you've got to do that. It's a penalty on Kearney, I believe. No. Washburn moved, so we probably got some kind of a false start on Washburn. They'll lose 5 yards on the play. It'll be 1st and 15 rather than 1st and 10. Loper's in a 4-3 defense, 4 defensive backs. Straight set. Shotgun formation for Washburn. I bet they're going to pass. Little shovel pass to number 20, Brooks. He gets some running room. And, well, he gets the first down. He picks up 19 yards on the play.
Scott Baker making the stop for the Lopers. Also, Dan Gall was in on the tackle. He helped finish it. Washburn mixing things up here in the third quarter. Just 55 seconds remaining, and they're out in front, 29-0.
First down and 10, 34-yard line. Got Brooks and Wandex in the backfield. Now Wandex moves up to a slot formation. Gonna throw it again. He hits Wandex, and he gets about 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for Washburn.
Wandex is a slippery little guy. He's listed at 5'9", 160. He's a junior out of St. Louis, and he's got some speed. We saw earlier in the first half when he lines up in that tailback position that he's very capable of running.
It's into the third quarter. 1 quarter left. 29 for Washburn, 0 for Kearney. Things aren't looking too good for Kearney.
Well, the only real positive thing that came out of that quarter, I would have to say, is in favor of Washburn because they ended their scoring drought. But for Kearney, not a whole lot to talk about.
While the Washburn offense didn't go in the end zone, of course, it was an interception return of about 70 yards for their touchdown in this period. So actually the Lopers will probably be playing for pride this fourth quarter to try to get on the scoreboard maybe once or twice and make this thing look respectable. They let Washburn score again. That doesn't look too good at all.
Well, this game isn't out of reach yet. Teams have come back from worse deficits, but Kearney State's going to have to do it in a hurry.
2nd down and 5. I formation, Williams and Brooks in the backfield. 2 very good backs. Not to mention the quarterback, Griffiths, number 2 in the CSIC in passing this season. He hands it off to Williams. He doesn't get anything. He gets about a yard, and that's all.
Williams is averaging just under 5 yards a carry, 4.7. He comes into the game with 342 yards, so he's a capable running back out of that I-back position. His backup, Wandex, has accumulated 168 yards, so both I-backs getting a lot of work in that Ichabod offense.
Amazing thing is, last year Washburn had completely different skilled positions except for Slusser. So they've completely reloaded and are really unloading right now. It's 3rd down and 4. Griffiths back to throw. He gets sacked all the way back to the 32-yard line. That's number 88, Jeff Essman out of Thedford. Big 6'6", 250-pounder.
Well, you got to wonder why Griffith is getting so much passing time when he goes back there, and I just saw something that may indicate why. For the Lopers, number 84, Chuck Acker came in there, and Chuck Aker, and he was held blatantly, but an official missed it.
Ball down by Washburn at the 28-yard line. They'll try it again. 1st and 10. Their own territory. See who comes out at quarterback. Once again, it's Russ Harvey from Grand Island. Washburn defense has been very dominating today. Got Janke the fullback, you got Mosley at tailback, got two receivers at the top of your screen. Got a pitch to Mosley. He's got a little running room. He gets hit pretty hard there. He does, however, pick up about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Blake Goodmanson on the stop for Washburn. He came up and hit Mr. Mosley rather hard. Gave him a greeting. Probably that's Mosley's first encounter with that particular defender for Washburn, so they had a pretty violent greeting there.
2nd down and 4 for Kearney State, behind 29-0. I formation. Russ Harvey barking out the signals. Overthrowing. Doug Banks out there, the intended receiver. He was open. A little bit too hard to throw over his head.
Harvey just put a little too much emphasis on that ball. Had a nice tight spiral, but just a little too much oomph on it and went well over Banks' head.
Well, a lot of times when you throw the ball and it sails, you do have a nice spiral, but it doesn't go anywhere near where you want it to go.
There you get a good look at the Kearney State College huddle, and they're going to have to come out of that huddle fired up here in this 4th quarter with just under 13 minutes remaining. They're going to have to do a lot of scoring.
Split backfield, the quarterback, Russ Harvey. Straight drop back. He's got a man, and it's Doug Banks right over the middle. The 47-yard line of Washburn. No flags anywhere. 1st and 10, I believe. Is that their 4th first down of the game?
It could be. Credit the line for the Lopers, Tim McCaw, also Scott Ford. Gave the quarterback just a lot of time to throw back there, set up a nice pocket with their blocking scheme.
Excellent throw there by Harvey.
Well, we know Harvey's capable. He came in last week with, while Gary Hurt was out with illness. Hart threw 2 TDs last week against Pittsburgh.
First and 10, Lopers, 47-yard line, a draw play. Got Janke, the big fullback. He gets down to the 43, a gain of 4 yards. Be 2nd down and 6, 12-17 left in the game. It's 2nd down. Got an I formation, slot right. Got a wide receiver at the top of your screen. Tight end in motion. Got a pitch play to Mosley, and he doesn't go anywhere.
Well, Washburn has already blanked one team from scoring this year. That was last week against Missouri Western. So right now they have a 7-quarter string where they have not yielded a point to the opposing team. So right now their defense is looking pretty tough.
Third down, 5. Receivers right and left. Obvious passing situation here, unless they play it conservative. Maybe they're audibling right now. Rollout pass, and he's got a receiver complete.
Number 16, Travis Valine, with a nice reception, although he let his knee touch the ground. If that wouldn't have happened, Valine probably would have picked up another 5 or 6 yards, but it's in college ball, it's down where your knee hits the ground.
First down, 35-yard line of Kearney. Looking to score for the first time in this game. I formation. They're going to run a draw play to Mosley. He's got some room. Down to the 28-yard line. Pick up about, we'll call it 6 on the play.
Frank Lemus on the stop for Washburn. Mosley showed a little promise on that play. He went right through the line of scrimmage with a lot of momentum, a lot of speed. Then Lemus shut down the play in a hurry after Mosley had picked up about 5 or 6 yards.
Valine brings the play in. Doug Banks out. Loper's threatening here. 10-16 left in the game. Slot right, I formation. Russ Harvey, little trap to the fullback, and he's a big guy, 45, Janky. He gets it within a yard of the first down to pick up about 3, maybe 4. Third down, 1 to 21-yard line. Big opening for Mosley. He's going to score a touchdown. 25 yards for Chuck Mosley. The Lopers are on the board. It's 29-6.
Well, I think I just jinxed Washburn because I just mentioned that they had 7 unscored upon quarters, a string of them going. And
well,
then,
you did indeed, didn't you?
The Lopers came back and scored, so that string now broken.
I've been mentioning the fullback as being janky. Actually, Aerosmith from Bassett, number 45, has been in there. Both of them are big. Extra point attempt is no good. So that takes a little bit of luster off the touchdown. Nevertheless, they're not going to get shut out today. 29-6, a little under 10 minutes left in the ball game.
This game has been brought to you in part by the Fireside Inn, Molly's Motorworks, Frontier Liquor, Bogart Supermarket, Copperfields, and L&J's Home and Appliance Center. KSTV Cable USA and the Kearney State Athletics Department would like to thank these businesses for supporting KSTV and Loper football.
Well, the Loper fans whooping it up a little bit, the band playing. Cheerleaders cheering, and the Lopers set to kick off. Halley and Williams deep back. Washburn looking for the onside kick. They've got 9 guys within 10 yards of the football. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to kick it off. Halley's going to catch it. He catches it at the 10. He's got a little seam, and boy, he could have pulled out of there, down to the 31-yard line. It'll be Washburn 1st and 10 right there. Loper defense needs to stiffen right here and get the ball back to the offense. The offense moving the ball now. First and 10, 31-yard line. Got a new quarterback in there for Washburn. Got Mark Johnson, a 6'4", 190-pound freshman. Doesn't get a thing there. Be second down.
Well, it's just under 9:30. I think the Lopers right now have probably decided that this one is unreachable, and they're probably going to start playing a couple of the reserves.
Well, that's what Washburn is doing right now. Mark Johnson, the quarterback now. He's going to throw the ball. They don't care they're ahead. He's going to run the ball. He's got some running room. He doesn't get real far. He picks up about 4 yards, and that's it.
Johnson right there did something that you probably don't like to see quarterbacks do, and that's stick around and get hit by the defensive people. He probably either should have slid or gone for the out of bounds a little earlier. But that's a dangerous way. You could get an injury that way. I know you like to pick up extra yards and maybe take a hit just to get the blood going again, but that's something coaches don't like to see, is the quarterbacks running the ball and sticking around and let the defensive hit them.
passing situation for Washburn. They're in shotgun formation, and Johnson, well, he's going to run it again, and he's going to get the first down. That time he did slide. Got a little grass stain on his pants there. 1st and 10, Washburn. .44 left to play in this game. It's 29-6 in favor of Washburn. They're 11th ranked in NAIA and well deserved. I formation. Cuts back. He's got a little bit of room. He picks up about 7 yards. That, of course, is number 3 Wandex, Deshelle Wandex, a 5'9", 160-pound junior. He'll be back next year, as will the other running back, Les Williams, who weighs just 170 pounds.
At the tail end of that play, you saw number 88, Jeff Essman for the Lopers, come up and give somebody a good hit. Jeff, a senior out of Thetford, listed at 6'6", 245, and he just had a nice touch, a nice finishing effort there on that play.
Well, Jeff's having a little fun out there. Split backfield for Washburn. It's 2nd down and 3. Johnson rolls right, excuse me. He can run it again. And, well, he's going to run it all day if they keep letting him have that alley right there. It's 1st down right now. Kevin Lyons chased him out of bounds there.
That's something Washburn probably ought to implement in their offense, is a controlled scramble. They're picking up a lot of yards with the quarterback just running around the end there.
That's right. It's real tough to rush the passer when they run rollouts because your defensive linemen, they're big and they get tired, and the quarterback probably has a little bit more endurance, and what it adds up to is what they got right here is a 1st down. I formation for Washburn. Got a couple of new running backs in there. Hands it off to Pandix, and he picks up a meager 2 yards. Good defensive play there by Kearney. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Coming out the field for the Lopers, number 84, Chuck Aker.
Shotgun formation, 2nd down, 8 for Washburn. Another rollout, and it's picked off, I believe, by Kearney. Kearney State football. The 35-yard line, 1st down and 10. That's the 2nd pickoff today for the Lopers. Each quarterback throwing one.
Stan Parzek making the interception for the Lopers. So Stan's a little happy right now, and that was a tough play for the Washburn quarterback to make. He was rolling to his left. He's right-handed, so if he's rolling to his left and wants to throw, he's going to have to throw across his body, and that's the toughest throw right there in football.
Okay, Russ Harvey brings him up, 1st down and 10. It's a 35-yard line. I formation, and got Mosley at the tailback spot. He's got a man, and that's Banks. Out to the 43-yard line. That'll be a gain of 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Kevin Marshall making the stop for the Washburn Ichabods. That was good concentration by Banks. Watched the ball all the way into his hands. Made sure he had the reception and then turned his head upfield.
Second down and 2. Got Shohan and Mosley in the backfield. I believe Trevor Pavlich hurt an ankle earlier in the game. We haven't seen anything of him since. Russ Harvey, the quarterback, there was a little delay there to Mosley, and boy, if he could have kept it outside, he might have gone the distance there.
Mosley was pretty much on his own on that play, not a whole lot of lead blocking. Like you said, though, if he hadn't got tripped up, he may have gone for some big yards. 6:10 now remaining in the game.
Taking quite a move, though, to make that sidestep over that big linebacker that was sitting there, but boy, there wasn't anybody else around. Well, first down for Kearney. He did get the first down. It's at the 45-yard line. About 6 minutes left to go in this one. I formation, got receivers wide right and left. Russ Harvey barking out the signals, and he's in big trouble. Big trouble. Pocket just collapsed there. They blitzed in a linebacker, and he didn't have a chance.
Number 46, Scott Caranda on the sack for the Ichabods.
Loss of 6 yards on the play. We're looking at second down and long, 16 yards to go. Loper's probably going to pass it this down. Washburn has a lot of people on the line of scrimmage. And here they come again. He's had Banks, but he dropped it. Not a very long pass anyway, only about a 6-yard dump.
That little route that you're seeing right there by Banks is pretty much the mainstay of Kearney's passing attack, just a 7-yard down and out with the quarterback rolling to either side. Kearney's going to have to probably incorporate some longer routes if they want to get more points on the board now. With just a little over 5 minutes remaining in the game, Kearney State could salvage some pace and do it right now for pride. They can put some more points here. A lot of time left.
Okay, it's third down, 16. Just as well be a mile. Split formation, they're going to throw it. And he's, oh, a little shovel pass, and, well, he gets a couple of yards, and that is it. That's to Mosley. Washburn tried it earlier and got about 19. Loper's tried it and got 2. It's fourth down.
I'd like to remind you, you're watching KSTV, Cable Channel 25 in Kearney, Nebraska. This broadcast is produced by students in the broadcasting department at Kearney State College.
Banks set to punt. Slusser, who I don't believe has caught a pass yet this second half, is deep back for Washburn. Had a marvelous day in the first half. Kind of a short punt, but got a good bounce out of it. Got it down to the 21-yard line. It'll be first and 10 Washburn there with 4:25 left in the fourth quarter. It's Washburn 29, Kearney 6.
Well, you could probably guess what Coach Claire Boroff is thinking right now. He's probably not too happy with the offensive performance by his Lopers.
But he can't understand that Washburn has a very, very fine team. And, you know, Kearney has played hard. They just haven't gone the right way. Wandix takes it out to the 19. He got a gain of about 3 there.
In on the stop for the Lopers, Kurt Metzger, number 99, a defensive tackle out of Bancroft. He's a junior at 6'3", 245, so he's a big kid.
There was a pretty good crowd here today, but quite a few have gone home and decided to call it quits. It's second down and 7. Johnson, the quarterback now for Washburn. He's just a freshman, 190-pounder. Gonna hand it off to the fullback. He didn't get much either. It's number 29, and by golly, he's not even on my program. Second down and 5.
That's something that Washburn has seen a lot of today, second and third down with only about 5 yards to go. So they're getting a lot of big yards on that first down play.
Well, the Lopers can hold them here. They can try for another score. It's third down and 5. 1 back in the backfield, looking to pass for Washburn. Kearney jumped off sides. Maybe Washburn moved. I didn't see him do it, but might not have moved enough to be able to tell.
Right there, I think that Washburn was just trying to use a delay count to draw Kearney State off the ball.
And that's exactly what it was. Washburn jumped a little bit too soon. So that'll move them back 5, and it'll be 3rd down and a little over 10, maybe possibly 11 yards to go. Washburn looked to be that they were going to flood the zone with all kinds of receivers. Now they've kind of packed in a little bit. Got a slot left. Got a running back in the backfield. A couple of receivers and a tight end. He's going to throw it. He's got Wandex over there, but he doesn't get far enough. It'll be 4th down. They'll have to punt the ball.
Well, like you said, Steve, Kearney State could put some more points on the board. 2:42 now left in the 4th quarter. And with this punt, they'll be punting with the wind, so the Kearney receivers are going to have to be back about
Kearney
5
State
yards further than they normally would.
Looking for a good return here. Probably get pretty good field position. Banks and Valine standing back. Well, good punt. Drives him all the way back to the 25-yard line, and good. Maybe a face mask there, and he's loose. He's going to go all the way. That's Doug Banks. I believe the flag is a face mask, so I think this is going to count. Kearney State Lopers have a touchdown. That's number 20, Doug Banks. 75 yards on the punt return. Exciting play.
Well, you've seen it happen all day. The return team for the Lopers kickoff and punting has provided the big excitement for them, Valine and Banks. And I think that flag, I saw it as unintentional face masking, so let's see.
That's right. Face mask on Washburn. The score will count, and now it's 25-12, a little more respectable. And Kearney, what are they going to do? They're going to go for 1, or are they going to go for 2? I believe they're going to go for 2. 2:02 left in the 4th quarter. Nice punt return. It looked like he was boxed in. Suddenly he squirted through there, and once he got through the original pile, there wasn't anybody to catch him.
It wasn't really a case of Kearney setting up a wall either way. It was just Washburn missing the tackles. They had a couple of shots at Banks as he went through that big pileup of players.
I know.
Banks
I mentioned
just squirted right through there.
I know, as I mentioned it when he caught the ball, that had good coverage. Well, they did. They had him surrounded. He just got through there. A couple of Washburn players were sleeping on the play. Going for 2. It's Russ Harvey at the 3-yard line. Mosley in the backfield. Got flags all over the place, and got the 2 points, but the question is, who's the penalty on?
I think it's probably going to go against Banks. He was coming in motion from the top of your screen, and he might have started forward before the snap of the ball.
That was Paul Riley over there making the catch. Big tight end. Good tight end. So they'll try it again. This time 5 yards further back.
Well, the Lopers are going to get the point after attempt again, but it's going to be 5 yards further back. This could open things up a little better passing-wise. It looks like the same formation that they just ran, though.
Got a slot right, I formation. Mosley the tailback. Russ Harvey, quarterback. He's going to roll out right. He's going to run for it. He's got the speed. Oh, he got an option to, who was that? A wing back maybe over there?
Looked like Mosley coming out of the I-back.
Yeah, it was Mosley. Well, it was a good play. They just had too far to go. He got it down to about the 2-yard line, gained about 6. However, the Lopers did manage to get on the field again. Washburn 29, the Lopers 12 now. Just 2:02 left in the game.
Well, if your campus or community organization would like an event listed on KSTV's video bulletin board, be sure to call 234-8251. This is a free service provided by KSTV through Kearney State College. The video bulletin board can be seen on this channel before and after our regular programming. Once again, that phone number 234-8251.
Kearney State set to kick off after their touchdown, a 75-yard touchdown punt return by Doug Banks. Once again, Washburn looking for the onside kick. Let's see what they do. And yes, it is an onside kick, and it's rolling around, but I think Washburn got it. Yeah, Washburn ball. Be first and 10 about the 49-yard line. Nice attempt.
Well, Washburn knew that the onside was coming all the way, and they had a lot of wide receivers, people with good hands up there, a lot of defensive backs. But on that onside kick, that was probably a little too hard. It did travel the 10 yards, but it was just a little too quick. You kind of want to time it that your people on your kicking line and the ball arrive at the same place at the same time. And that time the ball was just kicked a little too hard, and it outran the kicking coverage by the Lopers.
Best way to do that is have the nose hit and have it go way up in the air, kind of about 10 yards away, and then you can knock a few people down and get the ball. First and 10 at the 49. That's Johnson of Washburn pitching out to Vandix, and he sidesteps one, but cannot sidestep one guy. It's number 70, and he's all fired up. That's Mike White, big 6'2", 250-pound junior out of North Platte. He decked him.
Boy, he sure came up and delivered a good tackle on him. Lowered the headgear and stuck the pads right in Wandex.
A little bit of a mismatch there, 250-pounder on a 160-pounder, but I bet Mike thought it was fun, I'll tell you that. Second down and 11. That was a loss of 1 on the play. Straight handoff to Wandex again. He can't get anywhere.
Now Kearney State's going to call a timeout and try and save some time on the clock.
Once again, Mike White in on the tackle, and he's getting mean in there. Third down. They lost another yard. 12.
Well, right now they're looking at 3rd and 11, Washburn is, and it's obviously a passing situation. So I don't know, if I was maybe the defensive coordinator for Kearney, I might gamble. You're already down right now. I might want to put a blitz on here.
Got a timeout on the field right now.
You really can't give Griffiths or, Harvey a whole lot of time to pass back there. He's had good protection. Both quarterbacks for Washburn have had good protection on, for much of the game, all day. And if the Lopers go at the quarterback with their usual 3- or 4-man rush, I'm assuming they're going to have a lot of time on this particular play. And they've picked apart the defensive secondary of the Lopers. So if you get some more people in there on the line, and you just outweigh the Ichabods by sheer numbers, I'd put some sort of blitz on here.
Washburn, a very, very impressive team. Kearney State has nothing to be ashamed of. They've played hard all game long. Not a lack of effort that they're behind 29-12. Shotgun formation, Johnson, and ooh, the center just got decked. Was that old Mike White again? You betcha. Mike White, he's playing mean in there. I think he's saying that that the center moved, and I think that's what they're going to get. Offside Kearney. Mike was wrong.
Well, there you saw the call by the official, and the Lopers have given Washburn a bigger break here, 5 yards closer to that first down marker.
They're down 6. Shotgun formation. Hallie down at the bottom of your screen. Johnson, the quarterback, replacing Griffiths, who had a marvelous day. He's got a man, and did he catch it?
I think he did.
He says he does. 1st and 10, the 40-yard line. 1:08 left in the game. And I think that's about all she wrote.
Well, right there with the 4-man rush that the Lopers use in that situation, it really gives Washburn a lot of time, because they still have 5 people on the line, so they can afford to double team somebody, and that gives the quarterback a lot of time to set up and choose the best receiver.
Are they going to run it out, or are they going to try for another score? We'll see. Johnson barking out the signals. I formation. They're going to run it out. Wandix. He picks up about 3. It'll be second down and 7. Got about 45 seconds left in the game. Got a timeout, Kearney State. Holding on to their hopes of getting the ball back and maybe scoring, I guess. Next weekend, of course, is homecoming. Missouri Southern comes to town, and they got a whole week full of activities planned. Kearney looking to get back on the winning track. They may well against Missouri Southern. They're not on the level that Washburn is, but of course a uncomparable, foe.
There you saw Coach Boroff talking to Scott Kovar, and they're talking over some defensive adjustments that they're going to want to make right here. It's second and about 8 for Washburn with 44 seconds left. I don't know what adjustment you could make right at this point, but being down 29-12, Lopers feel they can do something.
I formation, Washburn looking to run out the clock here. Second down and 7, handoff to the fullback, and he's got a little running room. He'll get the first down. That is number 16. Who knows, because he's not on my program either. They're pulling out the 3rd and 4th team, I guess.
Washburn came into this game with 79 first downs. They had 14 from the first half. I figured they're probably over 20 by now, so they're probably averaging about 15 first downs a game. That's pretty decent for a team.
1st and 10, 21 seconds left. I'm going to run the ball down. This will probably be the last play. It's the fullback. Gransky at the bottom of the pile there. 7, 6, 5, 4. The game is going to run out. Final score, Washburn 29, Kearney State 6. Washburn travels to Wayne State next week. Kearney takes on Missouri Southern in homecoming. Come on out and see Loper football next Saturday night, and we'll be back next week with the game and all the festivities that come with it right here on KSTV.
So the Lopers drop their record now to 2-4. Well, Washburn ups theirs to 4-1. Next week is homecoming, and be sure to catch that game right here on KSTV. For Steve Crawford, I'm Jim Taylor saying so long. Your final score from Foster Field, Washburn 29, the Lopers 12. And we'll see you next week.